Welcome to the Wall of Soundtrack, a show where we discuss the music and soundtracks behind the very best TV shows and motion pictures. In this episode, we'll be analyzing and discussing the music and soundtrack behind David Simon's epic HBO crime drama series, The Wire. Hey guys, before we start the episode, I will be releasing new Brewtune podcast episodes, as well as new album and book reviews, so stay tuned for the new content. This content's also available on iTunes and Podbean as well, so if you don't mind, please leave me a quick review, and I hope you enjoy the episode. The Wire is a crime drama television series that was created by David Simon. The show aired on HBO for 5 seasons, from 2002 to 2008. The Wire takes place in Baltimore, Maryland. The show covers a variety of characters and subject matter on institutions ranging from law enforcement, seaports, politics, education, and print news reporting. The Wire received a variety of praises and accolades from critics, even including former U.S. President Barack Obama. The show also won a Peabody Award for Season 2. The series also had an excellent cast of actors and actresses, including the following: Dominic West as Jimmy McNulty, Larry Gilliard Jr. as D'Angelo Barksdale, Lance Riddick as Cedric Daniels, Wood Harris as Avon Barksdale, Idris Elba as Russell Stringer Bell, Wendell Pierce as Bunk Moreland, Michael K. Williams as Omar Little, Clark Peters as Lester Freeman, Sonja Sohn as Kima Greggs, and Andre Royo as Bubbles. The Wire also cast a variety of real-life public figures, including the following: former Maryland Governor Robert Ehrlich, former Baltimore Police Chief and radio personality Ed Norris, and former Baltimore drug criminal Little Melvin Williams. My returning guest for this discussion is Cy Shackelford. Cy is a writer for the entertainment commentary and review website Action A Go Go. You can follow his articles on the website www.actionagogo.com, and you can also follow him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @Shack_House83. We also have another returning guest, Joey Bonskowski. Joey joined us for our discussion on the music and soundtrack behind Ted Demme's film, Blow. We had a great time doing the episode, and we had a blast doing this one as well. Here's my discussion with Cy and Joey on the music and soundtrack behind David Simon's crime drama television series, The Wire. Cy, thanks for joining me again.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Very happy to be here, especially for this one, Andrew.
Joey, thanks for joining me as well.
Yeah, man, of course.
So, Cy, what's new in your realm?
Let me stop both of you right there.
Okay.
Are you guys taking notes on a criminal conspiracy?
Is that a good old Stringer Bell quote there? Or?
Oh, yeah, it is.
All right, I'm done. I'll just hang up now.
Are you going to tell me you're taking notes on a motherfucking criminal conspiracy?
None of y'all can say it right. I'm the only person in here that can say it right. Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? Fuck is you thinking, man?
All right. Well, knocked it out of the park on the beginning, so we should just wrap it up there. I'll talk to you guys later.
Cy, what's going on with Action A Go Go?
We're still covering San Diego Comic-Con. It's been on for 3 days now, and covering all the pop culture events, not just Marvel, but everything that's been coming out of there this weekend. What else?
Like Top Gun Maverick.
Yes, except there's no Iceman in there, and I'm waiting to see him. Westworld Season 3, they finally debuted the trailer for that. What else? Hustlers.
They had given us a teaser during Game of Thrones, too.
A little bit with the dude from Breaking Bad, Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Dude, the new Top Gun trailer looks freaking awesome, man.
I mean,
oh, my God. I'm all in.
I mean, I'm going to see it, definitely. I mean, everybody knows my rule against seeing sequels more than 10 years after the fact, but this one, I will make an exception.
Dude, I mean, I wonder who's directing this, because it almost looks like Tony Scott. It looks a lot like Tony Scott's, film.
His signature style, yeah, it does.
Cy, who is directing it?
I cannot recall offhand. All I know is that Tom Cruise, Ed Harris, and Jennifer Connelly, they're in the film.
Yeah, the Ed Harris role definitely super excited me when I saw that. I was like, because he's just such a great actor.
I mean, this is like just quintessential Bay Bruckheimer from back in the day.
Bruckheimer, Jerry Simpson. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just so stoked. I watched the show. I made my wife watch it like 4 times.
And it's got that like new modern type of theme song, like it's still the same, but it just sounds a little different, like a little more synths and.
Yeah, they updated the Harold Faltermeyer version of the original Top Gun theme music.
So yeah, I'm super excited, man. It looks awesome.
I know we've gone completely off topic, but wasn't that Kenny Loggins? Didn't he do the majority of the Top Gun soundtrack?
A lot of it, yeah. He did the Danger Zone, Playing with the Boys, Mighty Wings. That was Cheap Trick. Now Kenny Loggins only did like 2 or 3 songs in the soundtrack, actually, but his were the most popular ones because how frequently they were used in the movie.
It's just so wonderful. Just vintage Tom Cruise. All I need now is for him to be in another courtroom movie, and my world will just be, my life will be complete.
Yeah, you'll have a few good men there.
So let's jump into The Wire, guys. I mean, this show, epic.
It still has excellent replay value, even 11 years after it ended. I mean, and I'm not just saying it because you, myself, Andrew, and Joey are all natives of the state of Maryland and how it resonates for us, but the story, how densely layered everything is, it's like literature brought to life.
Yeah, and the subject matter. I mean, I've never seen a show cover the amount of topics and subject matter like this one does. I mean, it's incredible. They cover crime, they cover, the docks and the ports, and then education,
City Hall, the politics,
yeah,
the newspapers too. It's like they just delved into all those institutions with a level of realism that's not seen in most dramas.
I mean, they touch on all of that, but there's also kind of like the socioeconomic backdrop, which is something that David Simon has always, I mean, like when he did that kind of reverse interview with Obama, they had a lot to talk about that, where it was just like, this was created because of the conditions. And so, I mean, it was incredibly layered, incredibly deep. And, I mean, I think that the other kind of weird thing about it is that it kind of has cult classic mentality, because while it was, incredibly well critically reviewed, it didn't have the audience of like a Sopranos, which was, what a lot of people consider to be like the beginning of the golden age of television, which is something I know we talked a little bit about last time. But, this really existed through word of mouth more than an HBO marketing campaign that you see. They didn't have, the things plaster all over the subways and on the sides of buses. I mean, this really was word of mouth. And they had to fight to get every single season, like after season 2 or 3, to get them to keep going.
Yeah, because after season 3 ended in 2004, they didn't come back on until season 4 until 2006. And you're right about it being word of mouth, Joey, because I didn't know about it. It came out when I was in college, and I didn't know about it until my parents and a few of my cousins started talking to me about it. And after successful prodding, that's when I decided to catch it for myself, and I was hooked.
Yeah, the same for me. I feel like, I mean, I heard about it from one of my high school friends, but I was still in college, and the show really takes, I think, a little bit of effort to get involved in, just because the episodes are about an hour, and
they're from a state that most people don't really care about, Maryland.
Yeah, and
not New York or Cali.
The subject matter too, I think, it can be a little rough, and it's a show that makes you think. You just can't sit there and kind of doze off and then come back to it. You have to be following the scenes and the storyline to kind of fully understand it.
And as dramatic as the show was, really, it wasn't overblown. And by that I mean there wasn't any like background score or anything like that, like you see in a Law and Order episode or something like that. And that added to his realism, I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, two quick points, because George Pelicanos, who kind of penned this with Simon, they've been running buddies forever. He's got if you go back and read some of his novels, I mean, he has been writing these types of stories forever. And he's a DC native, so I mean, he kind of has the area. You know, he knows some of the subtleties of the accents and the slang and things that, you know, we used to say in middle school. So, I mean, it had that it was very authentic, but I think, you know, just when you dive a little bit like further into like casting, I mean, it couldn't have been done better. I listened to an entire podcast on the woman who did the casting for these shows and where they found people. And it was just unbelievable, the lightning that they were able to strike. But Sai, you mentioned Law and Order and just kind of that formulaic version of the crime show. But the crazy thing is, when you go back and look at these shows, these people were all from, like, the main characters were all people from that, like, version of casting. So you had all of those people who were in Oz, and then they were in The Wire, and then they were in Law and Order SVU. It was kind of like the precursor to the HBO bench, where they're just like constantly recycling their characters.
Rotation.
So this was like one of the first times where like you really started to see like true like dramatic television actors, people that are just pure character actors that you can put into a show and they'll knock it out.
Stage actors mostly.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is they're not like super A-list actors, right? I mean,
none of them were. None of them. I mean, Wood
Not at
Harris.
the
I heard
time.
of him. I heard of Wood Harris before any of this, and Hassan Johnson briefly because I saw him in Belly. But everybody else, well, except for some of the rappers they use, like Fredro Starr, Method Man.
Method Man, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point, Joey. And you know, I think, you know, let's jump into this first song here. The Blind Boys of Alabama, Way Down in the Hole. It's essentially the theme song for the show. It's played over 5 seasons, but this is, you know, they switch it up for every season, and this was used for season 1.
And this is the original version of the song too, and
it's the best.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like this version the best, actually. Yeah, and appropriately enough, when the series ended, they used this song as this ending montage too to bring everything full circle.
Yep. It was, I think that was a really nice way to tie everything together.
It was, yeah, and like what's it called? Even though the song is kind of shortened in the intro and whatnot, the imagery that they use in there to show Baltimore and like even to reflect the opening scene of the very first episode of The Wire about if Snot Boogie always took the money, why'd you let him in the game in the first place? We got to, yo. This America.
Yeah, I thought it was, you know, David Simon said it was kind of a love letter to Baltimore, the show.
And he, with his reporting, he spent a lot of time out there, and he has a journalistic background based in Baltimore. And a side note, he's a graduate of our high school, Joey. I'm sure you knew that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he actually spoke at my graduation, too, which was pretty awesome.
You lucky bastard.
Did he really?
Yeah, he spoke, and he gave a really awesome speech. I think this is around when Generation Kill was being released. That was like, what, 2008? Yeah, I think it was around that.
This was your college graduation?
Yes, yeah, he spoke at my college graduation.
Gotcha.
But it was awesome, man. It was definitely we had a couple speakers. It was a little bit of unusual of a setup, but he was definitely the best speaker out of all of them, and definitely huge fan. So, but yeah.
And the interesting thing about Simon, though, and I referenced Pelicanos earlier, and so much so that like I don't even think a lot of people realized how involved like the writing teams were in this. That, you know, you have people like a Simon who's a type A and a Pelicanos who's a type A, and the other guy who I'm completely blanking on his name, Ed something or other. Ed Burns. God.
Ed Burns.
Ed Burns, thank you. So, I mean, you have these 3 guys who could carry most shows on their own, and you have these guys in there, and they're not only pitching ideas, but they're working each other's scripts, which is the thing that, like, you have to be incredibly patient, number one, to, like, put out a draft, put your heart and soul in it, and have somebody come in there and mess with it. And, you know, I think that's one of the reasons why this show worked so well, because you had so many people who were really good at different aspects of telling a story and kind of bringing them all together. Which, again, I mean, you're seeing Simon try to recreate some of these shows, and I think, like, I love The Deuce. You mentioned Generation Kill.
And
there was that other miniseries
Treme.
about Yonkers. Treme, too, yeah. But even if they were critically acclaimed, they never had, like, what they would expect of an audience based on their previous work. So, I mean, it's gritty, it's raw, but it always, I mean, it was definitely one of those shows where it was built for our generation to come to it afterwards, so you could just binge the shit out of it.
Pretty much. I mean, it had more of a following. All these shows you mentioned had a bigger following after they ended. And like you said, the whole cult classic thing, like a cult following, you're right about that, because even with the critical lauding of these shows and the critical acclaim, they didn't have the big audience. They weren't getting no Emmy nominations, and really it was word of mouth, like you said. And also, another writer that they entrusted to having input on the shows, including the teleplay and the story, was Dennis Lehane, who wrote Mystic River, Gone Baby Gone, the novels for those, I mean. And he even appeared in an episode in season 3 as an evidence control officer named Sullivan, who was sitting there reading an Irish porno magazine when McNulty came to talk to him.
So
Such a deep cut.
Back to this song. It's done by the Blind Boys of Alabama. That's one interesting thing I didn't know about them, is that one, they're all actually blind. All the members of the gospel group.
Yeah, it's not just a clever name.
Yeah, and they've won 5 Grammy Awards. It was just kind of like, I was like, whoa, I didn't, It's an interesting little fun fact there. But this song is actually a cover of Tom Waits'
song.
Waits, yeah.
But this is the best version right here, and the Tom Waits version is used in season 2.
Right. Right. Yep. So when you dive a little bit deeper into the lyrics, you can see it really matches up, I think quite well with the themes of the show, right? Like, and people, when you look at the lyrics, we'll all be safe from Satan when the thunder rolls. We just got to help me keep the devil way down in the hole.
Right.
Way down in the hole.
Way down in the hole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, with The Wire, the whole theme of that, I think that one of the taglines was you have to read between the lines.
For season 5. Yeah, that was the tagline for season 5.
Yeah. And I think, what Simon was trying to do is kind of bring some of this stuff to light, So I think the whole way down in the hole part of it was like his way of kind of acknowledging, hey, nobody really knows much about these issues in Baltimore, but I'm
gonna dig them out of the hole.
Yeah, you got to dig them out. You got to expose these, issues and injustices, which I thought was just really cool, and a really cool reason why he chose this song, I think.
Well, it worked. Every institution they delved into, it's like I was having a teaching experience. I thought I still am every time I view the series.
I always feel like I find something new. It's like, whoa.
It is. Everything in there, I think it's done deliberate. It's just like a Jordan Peele movie. All the imagery in there is done on purpose. It's not by accident.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go.
I mean, it's also a little on the nose, too, because you've got, literally half the characters are just slamming heroin the entire time. So they're down in the hole. There's a lot of little aspects of where you can look at each lyric and think it pertains to multiple characters, multiple storylines of each season.
Even you're right, it does actually. I mean, like you said, the drug addicts like Bubbles, the street level cats who are way down in the hole in their respective institution. Even D'Angelo, Bodie, Wallace, Poot, they're down in the pit. That's a hole.
Yeah, and even McNulty, right? I mean, he's kind of a
He's in
drunk.
The doghouse.
Yeah, he's always chasing women. He's always drunk a lot of the time.
Yeah, all that stuff is what makes him a good cop, though. And McNulty, he's a central character of the whole series. I mean, the series doesn't have a main character, but it began and ended with him.
I've heard rumors actually that character McNulty was based off of Ed Norris.
Ed Norris, the guy who plays Detective Ed Norris in the show.
Yeah, he plays himself.
He was commissioner of the New York or Baltimore Police Department at one point.
It was Baltimore, and
he got arrested and went to jail for something.
Yeah, there was a scandal, some sort of political scandal, but I think he was up in New York City before he came to Baltimore.
He was. He's a New York accent, a heavy one.
Yeah, and I actually bought his book. It's called Way Down in the Hole.
Yeah.
I bought it, and I'm going through it now. It's really good. It's really good. But yeah, let's go to our next song. It's by Jay-Z, and it's Izzo.
Wait a minute, who? I don't know who that guy is.
You don't know who?
Could you familiarize me a little bit with his work?
Oh, sure. He has Hard Knock Life. He sings Girls, 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 and he's married to some lady named Beyonce.
Oh, Beyonce?
Yeah, Beyonce, yes, who was recently in The Lion King.
And he's almost, Jay-Z's almost, only one of the most, what does he have? One of the highest net worths in the world, right? I mean, he's
close to $1 billion, if not already there.
Yeah, he's a billionaire. Just a billionaire,
Yeah.
Yeah, but who isn't? You know what I mean?
We ain't, not yet.
But yeah, this song's off the sixth album, The Blueprint,
which came out on 9/11/2001. I remember that day. And what's it called? Around that time when The Blueprint came out, this was one of the biggest singles on there. And during that time, it was really an upbeat single, really uplifting during that dark period. And I thought that, off topic for a second, this is one of Jay's best albums right there, and one of the best albums that came out that year. But the way it's used in the show, that's another thing I want to talk about. The way these songs are used in the show, there's no kind of anachronisms at all. All the shit that was popular on the radio or popping back then, they found a way to incorporate it in there. This is one of them, I thought.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this song's played when D'Angelo essentially gets out of jail. He beats the murderer.
He beats the murder rap, yeah.
And then he's talking with Weebay in the car, and that song's playing on the radio, which is another thing I really like about this show is they don't actually directly inject these songs into the clips.
Oh, it's background noise.
Yeah, it's always background noise.
It's done perfectly.
Yeah.
Which makes it deliberate, kind of. And
another thing, do you remember what radio station that was? Because that was one of the three we could get. One of the hip hop stations.
It was 92Q. Yeah, 92Q is what that was in Baltimore. Because we got 93.9, 95.5, and then 92Q.
Yeah, but when you used to be able to pick up 92Q, I used to.
Me too. I remember that.
Yeah, and
they even do like subtle drops. Like they incorporated some like local people into the show. So like a local sports guy was on it. The Sports Junkies from the DC area had a quick cameo on it. So I mean, like they did a lot of like local radio backdrop of people that were on the air at the time.
And they did that too in season 4 as well. When Snoop and Chris are trying to figure out who the New York dealers are, they asked them, go up and ask them only something that Baltimore people would know, like 92Q or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Snoop put out a gun on the dude. He's like, whoa, Snoop, he's cool. Let me do the talking from now on.
Yeah, and I mean, so Weebay and D'Angelo are talking in the car, and he pulls over.
It's like, what's our rule?
Yeah.
And another part of that scene, the imagery in that scene too. He's telling them not to talk in the car, reminding them what the rules are. But if you look at where they're at, what the backdrop is, like a New York fish and burgers and chicken restaurant. And if you see where Weebay and D'Angelo are standing in relation to the sign, Weebay is right under beef, D'Angelo's under chicken.
I did not notice that.
I don't know if that was deliberate, but given what we learned about their characters, it stands to reason.
Yeah, and if you look at the lyrics too, like I put a little snippet there in our notes, but get your damn hands up, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem. That's the anthem. Y'all got to feel me. Key emphasis on the anthem. I mean, that's essentially Weebay or Barksdale's anthem, or the rules, the code. Yeah,
and they don't break them. I mean, Avon don't got his people like getting high or drinking or nothing like that. Not talking about nothing in the car. Don't talk over the phone.
Yeah.
And the pager discipline and the code they have for that, it's like, wow. For a bunch of hood cats, y'all are very intricate.
I mean, and you saw in the series, it took someone like Presbeluski to figure that out. I mean, because it was definitely really complex.
It was a nerd. Yeah, Prez, he likes that kind of complex shit. He's a math nerd.
But we'll go to our next song here. It's also used in episode 1. Bill Withers, Use Me. We've spoken about this before in one of our other podcasts when we
Any Given Sunday. We spoke about it there.
Yeah, and I love this song, and it's played in Orlando's strip joint or strip club. And I mean, it's pretty perfect, actually. I mean, when you think about it, D'Angelo is kind of using Avon, and then it's kind of vice versa, right? Avon's kind of using D'Angelo, to get his stuff done, for the
in the drug game, everybody gets used, but also in the police department too. I mean, look at Rawls. Rawls, he uses his homicide detectives to help him move up the ladder and keep up his clearance rate and whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean, and Burrell, him too. I mean, he just wants to look good for the press and in front of his boss, the commissioner. They all want to look good in front of their bosses, and they'll use anybody, use them or use them up in order to fulfill their goals.
And also think about where this scene is. It's in a strip club. There's strippers. Strippers are being used by the strip club owner just to make money.
And they use customers. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just perfect. And when you look at the lyrics here, my brother sit me right down and he talked to me. He told me I ought to not let you just walk on me. And I'm sure he meant well, yeah. But when our talk was through, I said, brother, if you only knew, you'd wish that you were in my shoes. You just keep on using me until you use me up, until you just use me up.
That's it. That's what happened with D'Angelo. That's exactly what happened to him.
And he had a sit down with Avon in that scene. Yeah.
Bunch of them too.
So I just thought it just works. That's the genius of, David Simon and the Wire music supervisor.
And Avon's intro in that scene too as well, when he's right there with Stringer and Orlando, and they're talking about this dude named Marcellus. Like, did you invite Marcellus? Nah, I invite him here. Orlando's like, you want me to throw him out? I don't give a fuck what you. Nah, actually, I'm gonna tell you what. Go down there and make that motherfucker pay for his drinks.
Yeah, you nailed that impression, man. But yeah, this was just another great choice by David Simon and the music supervisor. And we go to our next one, which is another epic song, Miles Davis, all blues, and essentially what happens is McNulty figures out that Freeman is actually a good cop and not a hump, and he actually knows his shit. So they go out for a drink.
They go out for a few, because remember what he said is like, I think I need to buy you a drink. And Lester looks at him like, just one?
Just one, yeah. I love that actor who plays Freeman.
Clark Peters.
Peters, he's so good.
Yeah, he's good.
He had a small little part in True Detective too. Remember that?
Season 1, yeah, as a preacher, the church in season 1.
Yep. And this song's great too. I mean, it's just an instrumental track by Miles Davis, who's just
and they both share blues with each other, McNulty and Lester, because they're both first grade detectives who were both basically in the doghouse because they were basically doing their jobs. I mean, Lester, he's more mindful of chain of command than McNulty is, and doesn't mouth off like that, but the principle still applies for both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lester learned the lesson that McNulty was about to, which was, however many years ago, when they asked him where he didn't want to go, that's where they sent him. And so Lester had a chance to sit on it for however many years before he found his path back to the game. And if it wasn't for McNulty being as sneaky as he was, he'd have been there. He'd have been on the boat for 20 years.
But what's it
building
called?
Little wooden tickets.
But here's the thing with Lester, with McNulty, though. McNulty ended up on the boat because he didn't tell Rawls he wanted to be on the boat. He probably told me he wanted to be at the Western. And then Landsman revealed that in season 2, Landsman revealed that he told Rawls where McNulty didn't want to go.
I always got the impression McNulty basically told him, so I must have missed that part. I figured he just walked right in there and be like, I don't want to go on a boat. He was like, all right.
Not season 2, when McNulty gets off the boat temporarily, goes to Homicide and talks to Landsman and Bunk. And Landsman's like, you owe me $10, Gilligan. He's like, fuck you, especially since you were the one that told Rawls where I didn't want to go. He's like, I knew Rawls was pissed, but I didn't think he'd actually send you there.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. The problem with some of these songs, too, and I don't mean to cut you off, Andrew. The problem with some of these songs is it brings you back to like a specific episode, a specific arc that's going on. And the problem with it is it's almost like an anthology show with the same characters, if that makes sense. I mean, each season is different, but you have these trajectories of where they're going to go. But
they're connected.
No, I mean, yeah, but I mean, even the stories that are connected also kind of have their own way of unraveling and kind of getting to, the core issues that they're trying to explore in each season. So, I mean,
that's why I didn't think season 2 worked at first. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was saying that's why I didn't think. You go ahead.
Rock, paper, scissors. No, just when you jump from season 1, which had that singular focus on the pit, breaking them, getting after Barksdale, that whole piece, it really opened up what they wanted to do from a story perspective in season 2, when you had the same drug thing going on that you had in 1, and then an entirely different subplot of the docks and all of that, and they still managed to merge in one singular Baltimore, underground perspective, and it all kind of tied back, and it's really, you go down this rabbit hole of each character, of each episode, of each season, and just the layers that they were able to kind of set up. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall of the season 2 writers' room how they put together this particular arc. I mean, it was just fascinating.
It was. At first, I didn't think it connected anyhow because, like you said, when they finished season 1, they opened the door for a lot of things that they could do with the institution that they explored. So when they went from that to season 2 to the docks, and then made the Barksdale portion like more of a subplot, really, it kind of threw me off at first. But multiple viewings of the series, it convinced me that the season 2, the docks, and what we learned from there with the Greeks, that makes it the most important season of all, I thought, because we see who the real power is in Baltimore and the Baltimore drug trade. It's not the Barksdales. It's not Prop Joe. It's not Marlowe. It's the Greeks.
Yeah, because the Greeks are the wholesalers.
Yeah, and they control everything.
And that was what made season 2 so brilliant, is you see how the drugs come into Baltimore, since it's a port city, and who controlled all of that, which was essentially the Greeks, and whoever had that relationship with the Connect, which was Prop Joe.
Prop Joe was the Connect pretty much.
So Prop Joe was kind of the king at that point in terms of the co-op, and he had that relationship, and that's why we find out later Marlowe has him taken out.
Yeah, he wanted to usurp him, yeah. But here's the thing, though. Marlowe would never be put on that path if it wasn't for Avon in season 5.
Yeah.
Avon being all playful with him when he sees him in jail, saying, I got nothing but love in my heart for you West Side niggas, nothing but love. But I gotta get my piece, too.
Yeah, so season 2 is
even at the meeting of the council, when Prop Joe, when they got him, and the two guys kind of whispered, whoever steps up with the Connect is the one that put him down. I mean, the layers of how it goes back and where they started that thread, and the fact that, the Greeks, I'm not even Greek, but they keep popping back up, meeting with different people, reestablishing the Connect. And this whole thing went away because Barksdale lost his New York Connect because they thought he got too light of a prison sentence. And so that's why Stringer's stepping on bad dope, and why he's now, they're about to give up the towers to the East Side people, because the product that they had and the organization that they set up was crumbling.
They were getting it from a New York Connect, Roberto, Dominicans, right? But then, like you said, in season 2, when Avon got sent to jail and they thought his prison sentence was too light, and then Roberto got hit up himself, nobody was really fucking with Avon after that. His Atlanta Connect was getting him stepped on shit, and they had no other option but to go with Prop Joe. But Avon, of course, didn't want to do that out of pride.
And that's the crazy thing, too, because, they show Stringer, he's going to his Baltimore Community College business classes. He's looking at it from a macro perspective. But it was really Avon that built this organization through just absolute brute strength and the will to do it. But more importantly, the things that they picked up, like you talked about, like the skip code on the pagers and the rules that they followed. And they showed these subplot characters, the people that were the soldiers, and they were all half a moron, but yet they all knew how to use a jump code on the beeper, and they all knew the main rules of not talking in certain places. And it's just amazing to see that when you have these simplistic rules, that even a bunch of knuckleheads can follow them.
Yeah, knuckleheads is what they called them, yeah.
For all of that, Stringer, with all of his grand plans, still never was what Avon was, which was just from the streets. I was
going to say, Avon was more intuitive about the streets, no doubt. Stringer thought he could apply whatever he learned in college to the streets, but nah. it didn't work that way, and he tried to make himself on par with the politicians that he was trying to get up with, like Clay Davis. Like, no, it's like Avon said, they saw your ghetto ass coming from miles away. But the soundtrack also reflects some of that too, especially the next song by Mos Def and Talib Kweli.
Hater Players,
yeah, from their Black Star album in '98.
And this is played in the car, essentially when Kima's with Orlando.
Undercover, yeah.
So Savino gets into the car. He turns the music up so that,
since we going this way down Landville, I need to go get me some cigarettes. And he just turned the music right up immediately.
Yeah, he knew that, she may have been wearing a wire and didn't want the
fake coke that he was about to sell them.
Yeah, and the takedown squad was ready, for Baltimore Police Department. Oh, they were trailing.
Yeah, but remember they changed the signs up.
Yeah,
because she was talking about. I could have swore this was what's it called in Orlando. It's like the Hopper switched the signs up on you cops, and then Weebay and Lil Man just come out and start shooting. But that whole plan just went wrong because Savino was trying to signal that he knew that lady was a cop, but they didn't see him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just bad, and then Kima was trying to go for the gun in the back, and it fell.
As soon as they put any weight on them seats, the gun that was taped up pretty secure slid right back.
Yeah, that was a pretty
that was a very
emotional scene. Yeah,
that was very intense scene. That's when the series really started to pick up for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had its moments before that, like with Omar when he killed Stinkum, and then hit up Weebay with the "You come at the king, you best not miss" moment. But when Kima got shot, that's when that was real. What's it called? That was when the plot thickens.
Yeah,
even more than that, because Rawls and McNulty hated each other
in the next episode.
Hated each other, but you still saw them come together. Like so, I mean, it was interesting because. If you had just like a formulaic device show, they would show Rawls continuing to be an asshole. But at that moment in that time, when he could see that McNulty was truly hurting and blaming himself, he went over there and they were all brothers for 5 minutes.
Even if he told him in his own abrasive way.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they got to the heart of the multiple different kind of lifestyles that people were running and how authentic they were. Whether it's, the bond that policemen feel when they're, in that kind of that fight or flight that dies when somebody gets killed in the line of action, whether it's the drug dealers everybody closing down ranks when they think they've got heat. It's just amazing how they were able to portray all of those different things. Some
of them were genuine reactions, but some of them are just purely reactionary, like Burrell and the commissioner ordering raids on everybody, all the drug dealers in the city. And then Daniel's reaction, dope on the damn table, like that's going to accomplish shit. Yeah, and then and like you said, a hark back to what you said about Rawls. That episode after Kima got shot, The Cost, where he just took control of the crime scene and he was the one that figured out that the Hoppers, they switched the street signs on people. The scenes right there, they show that Rawls, before he started climbing the ladder, he was good police at one point. He knows what the fuck he's doing, but he realized that if he wants to move up, he's got to play the game and be an asshole.
That's the first time you said that, which I wanted to go into, because that was always the thing that they would say when somebody was, when they really respected them, was that you are good police, or that's a real murder police right there. I mean, that was the line that you knew that you were working with somebody that was up to the level that they expected of each other. And you could see that at one point, Rawls was good police.
Yeah, and he respects good police, too. He even admits McNulty's a good police, even though he hates his guts.
Yeah, and you could see it in the scene where he tells everyone, he's like, stop. Everybody stop what you're doing right now.
I said, nobody fucking move.
Yeah.
If you have not been assigned a task by homicide, then you need to vacate the crime scene. Is there nobody that understands English? If you are not homicide, then remove your useless interfering asses from the crime scene. Now!
Yeah. And, John Doman is just...
John Doman, he's good. I mean, I've seen him before The Wire like in Die Hard with a Vengeance and Copland. He was in those films.
Yeah.
But he had bit parts in those.
Die Hard with a Vengeance, he plays like a foreman, right?
Foreman, yeah.
I was like, holy crap, that's John Doman. I had to look it up in the IMDb, but...
Oh, yeah. And he was in...
He was in Oz. He was one of the recurring characters that was in Oz.
There, and he had like the part of the rapist in the beginning of Mystic River.
Oh God, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So if we go back to this song, the lyrics. of this song.
Hater players.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it does refer to kind of and match up a little bit with the scene in terms of Orlando snitching, and then Kima being a cop, an undercover. You see the lyrics, you run in your mouth, but you really don't know what you're talking about. You should retire, get that complimentary watch.
Yeah, that part right there, you should retire, because that harks back to what what Avon and Stringer were telling Orlando to do. Like, what's it called? They told him not to get involved in no crime. They even gave him a beating just to drive the point home. They mainly want him clean so their liquor license will stay clean, right? But a side effect of that is we're trying to keep you safe, pretty much.
Yeah.
And when he kept going along with the those out-of-state dudes pretending to be from New Orleans or whatever that were really state police, which, by the way, that seems like entrapment to me, by the way that scene played out. When he kept saying that he wants to get involved with them, gets arrested, and then Levy, the lawyer, leaves him hanging out to dry, saying basically, sign this right here. It's backdated. You want to be part of the game. Now you're in the game.
Yeah, that scene was really. I didn't know what was going on at first, because you see those two
dudes were looking with the red bandanas on in the SUV or whatever,
and they looked like he just kind of oddly smiled at them, and then of course you figure it out, and the next scene they're walking with Orlando, or he's cuffed and you figure that those two guys were undercover.
They probably put a badge up in the bag too when he kept looking in there, and when he figured it out, and that's why they started laughing.
Yeah. Yeah,
that one cop from that scene, the baby faced black guy,
Troy Wiggins.
He's one of those that guys that when you see him, you recognize him, but there's no way you could pull his name.
Yeah, I don't even know I don't even know the actor's real name, to tell you the truth. I only know him as Troy Wiggins from The Wire, though I have seen him on season 1 of Law and Order SVU.
He was also on an episode of NYPD Blue, which I just rewatched recently.
He was younger then.
So I can't help myself. Oh yeah.
So we'll go to our next song here in episode 8.
CK1 by Cage.
Yep.
Yeah, this was used in the scene where they go to Little Man's house for a party downstairs or whatever to celebrate Stinkum's promotion to crew chief. And before that, they were all up in the what's it called? The pit beef, Pulaski, over in Baltimore, having a pit beef run, just talking shit or whatever. A scene that I like because it humanized all of Avon's soldiers, saying when they're not killing people, they're actually just regular people just looking for a bite to eat. But in this scene right here, where everybody's downstairs, Stinkum, Weebay, Orlando, Little Man, just like drinking, smoking herb, and D'Angelo is just so uncomfortable during the scene. He even calls out Stinkum for like rolling up a joint. He's like, yo, Stink, what about the rules? And he's like, special occasion, yo. And then Weebay takes a girl up in the room and smashes. Orlando's dancing, but he doesn't like D'Angelo at that point, because that's the cause of the beating that he got from Avon and Stringer. And then, but the artist who did it, Cage, yeah, he was a big portion of the NYC underground in the 90s and last decade too. He was with the Eastern Conference, Def Jux record label. He had beef with Eminem during Eminem's Slim Shady LP record that came out when we were in high school, because of their similar styles and the fact that they're white MCs. Which makes me think another thing. I don't think all white MCs like each other. They always got to prove which one's better. I'm serious. They're always beefing. Look at Machine Gun Kelly, Eminem, Third Base, Vanilla Ice.
I did not notice that, but that is a good point. But
I can't tell if you dropped that one in there just to make me laugh or if you were actually being serious.
Why can't both be true?
So we go to our next song. It is Master Ace, Unfriendly Game.
Yeah, this song was used in the scene where, remember the scene where, what's it called? D'Angelo, they're still dealing with the aftermath of Kima's shooting. Everybody, the pit, Avon, all layers of Avon's organization. And then somebody tells D'Angelo that he needs to get up with Stringer at Orlando's. He goes there. The club's pretty much empty. He doesn't know what's going on. He's like, yo, what's up? Why the club empty? You going with Bay. Hey, yo, Bay, make sure that shit really clean, all right? Yo, what's going on? What the fuck you waiting for? And it's leaving us, too, in the dark, too, because then you see Weebay and D'Angelo in the car, and then the Master Ace song, Unfriendly Game, is playing in the background. And that song, it uses the sport of football as a metaphor for the crime and the street game that goes on. I mean, it uses a bunch of football-related wordplay to describe the hustlers, the fiends, the cops, etc. And it was from his 2001 album Disposable Arts, which tells a story about a guy who gets out of jail, then goes back to school, and then figures out a way to be part of the rap game.
Yeah, and the whole time when you like the tension when you see him walking up to the door and the door's about to open, you just think this is going to happen.
He's sweating like crazy. Yeah, and it's like we don't know what's going to happen. He don't know what's going to happen. It's like, are they going to shoot him?
Yeah,
and the dialogue is left ambiguous like that too. It's like, I just do what they tell me, D. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the whole time you're just thinking.
He's like, and D's all scared. He's like, no, he's like, motherfucker, would you get in here? Fuck is wrong with you? Then he opens the car.
Is this when he tells him to feed his fish?
Yeah, when he brings him to his house and it's all dark and D'Angelo's all scared and the light comes on, like, check him out, D. My fish. We're like, that's what you called him over here for? That's what you and Stringer were trying to scare him with?
Yeah, the joke's on him, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And he's like, what's it called? Yo, why are we going to Philly for? We shot a narco, D. Gotta go sky up.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. I was like, I was on the edge of my seat for that scene, you know?
Me too. A lot of tension was going on in that episode. And the song itself, M-Friendly Game, it takes its cue from another song called Just a Friendly Game of Baseball, which came out in 1991 by a group called Main Source. And that song, it uses the sport of baseball as a metaphor for police brutality.
Gotcha. Yeah. That you know, and then we go to our next song here by Paul Anka, Put Your Head on My Shoulder, and this is essentially the song that's played in
where they get that hot dogs when they're eating hot dogs or whatever.
Yeah, in the restaurant, and this is before Wallace, who's played by Michael B. Jordan. Mm-hmm. He gets shot, and it's a sad scene, you know. It
is, because we know what's coming. Basically, I mean, when Wallace came back, we knew he was going to get got. And the scene with like Stringer Bell and Bodie, where Stringer basically covertly tells Bodie to kill Wallace. And Bodie, we know he's going to do it. He keeps trying to break Wallace down, talk down to him, dehumanize him to make his job of killing him more easier.
Yeah, and you can see that. I mean, you could see it in the whole scene. Just, you know, Wallace trying to actually, speak on a human level to Bodie about how he's feeling, and Bodie just like you said, shoots him down.
Basically, it's like, why? You hope you're talking about your mom's like you a little kid and everything.
Yeah, and you just notice too, he's being played. He's being played the whole scene, and the lyrics kind of go back to that. They make a reference to that, you know, in this song. People say that love's a game you just can't win. If there's a way, I'll find it somebody, and then this fool will rush in.
Wallace was a fool that rushed in, because they let him go into that apartment where the kids were not. Yeah, what the hell happened to the kids anyway? I mean, they had him go up in the building. The kids are no longer there, but the boy left his CD player up in there.
Yeah, that's something I never really figured out.
And they moved him somewhere else, I guess, or told him to get out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but the whole scene where they killed Wallace is like, so fucking sad.
It's gut-wrenching. And then, what I didn't understand is why Wee-Bey and you know, the crew, when they find Brandon, you know, and Wallace helps them find it, why did they drop him like right there outside of the apartment
where
he
lives?
Where he lives. Like, I just never got that. Like, why would he pick that place? Or if maybe they just didn't know.
They didn't know. I mean, they don't care about their underlings, really. They don't know where they all live. I mean, D'Angelo might know because he actually connected with them, but them dropping Brandon right then and there where Wallace lives, that was purely serendipitous. They didn't do that on purpose to fuck with Wallace, so I don't think.
Okay. And then we go to our next track by Jesse Winchester. Yes, Step by Step. And Sai, you found this one.
Yeah, this was used in the season 1 ending montage. It like shows everything that happened after the Barksdale trial and what's going to happen with the police department. Like, at this point, we know that Daniels, he didn't get the promotion to major, went to his friend, Lieutenant Cantrell. And we know that Daniels, because he crossed Burrell, he's going to get some kind of punishment, just like we see McNulty got punishment later in the montage when he's rocking the boat. And about the song, though, it was from Jesse Winchester's 1976 album, Let the Rough Side Drag. He was born in the South and born and raised in the southern states of America, but moved to Canada to avoid being drafted during Nam. And what's funny is Winchester was born at Barksdale Army Airfield in Louisiana. And I don't know if that's a reason why whoever chooses the songs in the show, I don't know if they read that in his background or why they chose it as an inside connection or something, or or if it's purely by chance. But either way, I thought it should be thrown in there. But yeah, the lyrics, they summarize just how dysfunctional the Baltimore Police Department is, along with the criminal institutions as well.
That's an interesting find, the Barksdale aspect where that's where he was
born. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And like back to the song itself. Yeah. They mention, where's it at? And if a saint steps out of line, he'll have to start again, because Jacob's golden ladder is slippery at the top, and many a happy-go-lucky saint has made that long, long drop. And Lester Freeman mentioned that to the Daniels earlier in the season, saying, "I know how serious you are about the career ladder, and I know how slippery it gets the higher up you go. But me, I don't want to go to no dance unless I can rub some tit." Yeah, and what we see what happens in this montage, though. Bubbles and Johnny Weeks are still trying to scam heroin. Michael Santangelo, has been demoted from homicide detective to Western District uniform by Rawls as punishment for not wanting to snitch on McNulty.
Right.
McNulty's now riding the boat, and Lester got his spot in homicide as Bunk's partner. Kima is still recuperating from the injury, but desperately wants to get back out with the action when she looks at the sirens all longingly from the hospital window.
Yeah.
What else? Carver, he becomes promoted to sergeant by Burrell, and he knows he didn't deserve that promotion for snitching on Daniels the way he did.
Yeah.
And Stringer Bell, yeah, he's now the head of the Barksdale organization, and when he closes his eyes, it's like he imagines how the drug game could be and should be in his eyes, a foreshadowing of Amsterdam, where everybody's just selling drugs, the cops aren't around, and no bodies are being killed.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you real quick, Side, the actor who plays Santangelo, is that actual real, like, was he an actual
cop,
police officer? Or?
I don't think so. I know he's been in other stuff before, other dramas and other stage. He's a stage actor, really.
Okay.
Marconi, I think, is his last name.
Okay.
In real life. And the final part of that scene was when we see Omar, who's hiding out in the South Bronx, still up to his old tricks, still sticking up people, and he gives the epigraph of the episode, which turns out to be the final line of the episode. All in the game, yo.
Yeah.
All in the game.
And then, so, we go to season 2, and we go to the opening credits it's Tom Waits, the original version, Way Down in the Hole. Mm-hmm. I love this version and how it's used, especially in relation to season 2, because season 2 is essentially about the docks and
the working class,
and how cargo comes in from the ships, which has drugs or other contraband, stolen cars, or we find out later it's actually prostitutes, and then that results in the deaths in the murder case. But what I love about this song when I listen to it is the production of the song. When you listen to Tom Waits singing, it sounds like he's almost singing into like a container or something, or like
there is like a reverberation to it.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool.
That's probably why they chose it.
It just you could just hear the pain in his voice, like he's just struggling, like, and it goes back to, I feel like, what you were talking about, the struggling working class, the dock workers, and
that class is dying too. I mean, based on what we saw in this whole season.
Yeah. And then you find, and another great point, by the way, by you, you said the working class is dying, but the automation that goes into the checking, like the dock checkers job,
which they're going to be replaced with. And Frank's like, what the fuck was that horror story we saw today?
Yeah. He's like, how are people going to be working, right? Like, he's like, I guess you can't get hurt if you're not working.
Right. Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah.
That's just, again, what I just love season 2. I think it's brilliant. It brings everything together. I feel like,
it does. Joey, don't you got a Frank Sabaka impression for us?
I've got, so I was trying, Si and I was texting. I'm not sure if you've ever tried to phonetically text a Baltimore accent before, but it really, it definitely makes you dig deep down into the old Balmer. Let's go down to the water, drink some natty bows, and see the ponies.
Move, shitbird. All right, you mopes, don't get captured.
I mean, there's a couple things. So you were talking about the working class. So I think that this does something very interesting because it shows the kind of poor underbelly of Baltimore from both sides. So, you look at the hood people, you look at the kind of white trash. There are nobody is not affected by being poor in this country. So that's number one. The kind of way this whole thing kicks off was because Frank Sabatka was trying to curry favor to help get part of the canal dredged so that they could get more ships coming through, because their union was seeing falling membership and they weren't doing nearly as many containers. And he ran up against another Polak cop who wanted to be the one to curry favor with the guy at the church. And that's how this whole thing kicked off. And I mean, there are a couple of great scenes down there, because you have to remember that's Prez's father-in-law, which is how he ends up back on the detail. I mean, it's just crazy to think how this massive, like, Homeland Security got involved at the end of the season.
Oh yeah,
that's how big this was. And this started over a grudge over who got to replace the stained glass window at the church.
Yeah. Basically, that's exactly how it started. Two Polacks beefing with each other. And that's how Burrell described it to Daniels when he brought him onto the detail too, about what's this all about.
Yeah, and what's even crazier about this season is when that scene where Presbolewski punches Valchek. I mean, this is crazy. Yeah.
Like, get your shit rolling, I'm pulling you. Get your narrow ass back to the district or I'll slap you with insubordination. Move, shitbird! Knocked him, clocked him. Knocked his hat right off his head and made him bleed. Daniels, the way his eyes lit up, that made it funny too.
His eyes got so wide.
It's like his eyes were saying Jesus instead of Valchik's mouth. And then McNulty and
Daniel.
Then McNulty and Bunk were when they learned about it, it was funny as shit. He's like, no shit. So motherfucker Prez just leaped up and clocked him. Yeah, I mean, Daniels had to take him home for the rest of the day. And McNulty's all like, he acts like he wants to buy Prez a beer after knocking out a senior cop like that. Like, where is he now? You know, he'll be back on this detail. He's got one of them shits in his psych jacket that gives him all kinds of immunity. Valchek wasn't immunity, and he just put Valchek on his ass.
Yeah, that was like, I was feeling what Cedric Daniels was like. His eyes went wide. I was like,
holy shit! You gonna get fired for this?
That was crazy.
And the scene and like you said, where this all started from, right? Between two Polish guys arguing, the scene where Frank Sabatka curses out Valchek, that was funny.
But you know, let's go to our next song by episode 2, Sean Paul, Get Busy. This one I feel like definitely brings me back to like the 2000, like
sophomore year in college for me.
Yeah. This song was just like played so much on the radio.
Sean Paul was big back then. I mean, even if you get like, he was Drake back then pretty much. If you get like Sean Paul feature on your record, your single will sell 1 million copies.
Yeah, and this is played in the background with when Omar and Dante, I guess, who's I guess the new member on his crew.
And his new boyfriend, yeah. I mean, Omar always had a thing for light-skinned boys. He do. Brandon, Dante, and what's his name? Ronaldo in seasons 4 and 5.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the song fits so well with this scene. I mean, it's essentially a romance scene between the two, and Get Busy. You know, there's the obvious sexual references there to the song title Get Busy. Mm-hmm. You can see it in the lyrics. Girl, get busy, just shake that booty nonstop. When the beat drops, just keep swinging it, get jiggy.
And it's also a metaphor for how Omar operates in the street really much too. I mean, he can walk down the street with no gun and people still run away from him.
Yeah. I think and to piggyback off of that, I think it just also kind of hints at how his character is very three-dimensional. I mean, it's a complex character.
Yeah, a gay stick-up dude in the hood. It's like, that's just, on paper, them shits don't go together, but Michael Kenneth Williams, he made it work. And in season 1, when I learned he's gay, I was sitting there like thinking, shit doesn't go together. How are they going to make this work? But what really just made him my favorite character, like I said earlier in the podcast, was when he killed Stinkum and hit Weebay with, "You come at the king, you best not miss." I'm like, okay, you're the hardest character on the show. No pun intended.
I mean, there's never, in the history of television, he may be the most complex character of all time.
One of the most unique
it's
ones.
Complete dichotomy. It's unbelievable what they were able to pull off. And, I mean, you're right. You look at this on paper, and you're just like, this is outrageous. And One, Omar is based off of a real dude.
Yeah, and the real dude that played him, the real dude that he was inspired by was also on The Wire, too. He was one of Butchie's people, and he died in real life like a year ago.
He got killed a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, jeez. Yeah, he's the guy who sits in the car with him when they're outside of
Monk's house in season 5, yeah.
I forget what his name is in the show.
Me too. But he was the one that got himself put in jail so they could protect Omar.
Yeah. Dude, that guy's huge, man.
Yeah, he is.
I would not mess with that guy.
You saw they helped him out in jail, yeah.
But yeah, and then we go to our next song here and it's in episode 5, and it's Iggy Pop and the Stooges, "Search and Destroy." I love this song and how it's used.
Ziggy plays it on his radio after he got stiffed by Frog.
Yeah,
and that's when Cheese Wagstaff makes his first appearance, and his people show up and take his car and his jacket.
Yeah, and then the guy does a burnout with his car after he leaves.
And the funny thing about this scene is, I remember what's it called? It was an intro to Frog too, right? And we get to see how the white trash or whatever, how their drug operations operate, right? He's like, he sends a customer back to his man, then gives Frog the money, the pile of money, then stiffs Ziggy. And of course, Frog is not taking Ziggy seriously at all.
Yeah.
But there's an interesting parallel to see how Frog operates compared to someone like D'Angelo. In season 1, D'Angelo, for all of his young hoppers, he'd be like, "Hey, yo, shorty, here's some money. Give me some chips, a ginger ale, and get something for yourself or whatever's left over."
Yeah.
Frog is like, "Hey, yo, shorty, give me some crab chips from the corner store right there." Doesn't even tell him to get nothing for himself.
Strawberry soda.
That's White Mike. White Mike wants strawberry soda and 2 hot dogs. Hook a brother up.
And then Ziggy gets beat up, man.
Ziggy was the butt of so many jokes. He was
a joke.
More
than that, I mean, when you have these like Shakespearean flawed characters that you just know are going to be the downfall of somebody, I mean, you know that the first time you meet Zig, that
his father
he
fires
is going to be the reason why this whole thing gets brought down. Every single time. He's always doing dumb shit. He's always flashing money when he has it.
Yeah.
He's buying his stuff. I mean, you just know that he is going to be what brings this whole operation down. And, of course, he does at the end.
Pretty much he does, yeah, when he kills George Gleekus.
Yeah.
He shoots him in the face. Malacca.
Yeah, he just lost it. I mean, you could see this song.
Yeah, he got gypped. I would be mad, too. Maybe not mad to shoot the guy, but I would be mad.
And you see how he's kind of an outcast, and the lyrics reflect that. I'm a street walking cheetah with a heart full of napalm. I'm a runaway son of the nuclear A-bomb. I'm the world's forgotten boy, the one who searches and destroys.
He's a time bomb. He is.
Yeah.
It's like you make fun of him way too much. And a lot of it, he sat there and just ran with it, though. Like when Maui put him on top, like, "You motherfuckers gave me bad advice." It's like his tone was almost like very humorous and joking.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, he's just a ticking time bomb. The guy's unstable, and I think it's cool also because, like, I don't know if you guys know who Henry Rollins is.
Of course, yeah.
Rollins is a huge fan of Iggy Pop, and
it parallels back to what I said earlier about white rappers with the Third Base versus Vanilla Ice. In the Third Base video for Pop Goes the Weasel, where they make fun of Vanilla Ice, Henry Rollins plays Ice.
And then I actually ended up buying a Henry Rollins shirt that had "Search and Destroy" on it, and I think it's a reference to that Iggy Pop song.
It probably is.
Yeah,
it probably is.
But yeah. And then we go to our next song, which is from episode 8.
Oh yes,
this is
cover.
Yeah, this is McNulty, where he just kind of lights it up, man, with that car.
Because the night before, the previous episode, his ex-wife rejected him after they had like one last fuck for the road, as she calls it, and he thought they were all good. The next morning, she's like, "It won't be fair to our kids, so you need to leave," and that devastates him.
Yeah. So then he just goes on a bender. Oh yeah, he goes on a bender.
This whole opening was great. This made McNulty, as a fictional character, this made him a legend.
Yeah, and this song's called Transmetropolitan. It's by the Pogues, and it just fits so perfectly. It's an Irish band.
Irish punk band. Yeah.
Irish punk band, and then, of course, McNulty is Irish, and you see it in his Irish heritage when he goes in the bar, and the bartender's like, "Save some for everyone else, Jimmy," and he's like, "Pour it." You're not driving, right? You're not getting behind a car, right?
I swear to you, I'm not driving. And what do we see?
I'm not getting in a car. He's like, I'm not getting in a car, Wes, or whatever. And or no, I'm not getting in a car, Gus.
And as soon as he's in the car driving, and he just makes that turnabout where he fucks the car up twice. Yeah.
And then he tries it again. He backs up, and he's like, "Oh, I think I'll try this one more time." And then you hear the Pogues in the background, and then he tries to make that turn, and then
and he hurts his hand too.
Yeah, his hand's all bloodied up, and he's trying to sing. It's so funny, and he's trying to
sing all of the lyrics. Yeah,
and you just can't hear anything. He's like, "Run, run, run, run."
Dominic West probably was drunk for that whole scene.
Yeah, he definitely looked the part.
He looked the part.
Right? Yeah. And then the following scene after that,
he's in the diner.
In the diner.
I just knew when the waitress looked at him like a little bit shy at first. I'm like, he's gonna pick her up. He's gonna bag her, isn't he? And sure enough, when she starts flirting back, you can get anything you want. And she's on top of him, just riding him like Seattle Slew.
Yeah, it was just that was when McNulty was on fire. I was like, you really start to love the character a little bit.
Yeah, despite or because of his self-destructive ways.
Yeah, the debauchery.
But I mean, like, the debauchery of it is one, because McNulty was just, he takes the cake on that. But there's the game that him and Bunk play when they go into the bar, where he's like, "It's my turn." "No, it's my turn." And they run that stupid little game on the people. And then more importantly, you see that Kima is actually just McNulty the entire time. So they're running game on Kima's girl. So, oh yeah, she had to take a prisoner out to Aberdeen tonight.
Yeah.
When she's out banging some chick. So I mean, like, you can just see this, like, how, regardless of the way it's portrayed, and obviously in McNulty it's just a drunken Irish mess, but I mean, they really portray these cops, which I think is probably somewhat of an accurate description. I mean,
I think so too.
You hear about these people just have just like the high percentage of alcoholism, and people that cheat on their wives, and the type of, what their career is. And it's just amazing that, like, this is probably more than a stereotype than they realize. I mean, I think that goes back to kind of the authentic nature of the show.
And there's a reason stereotypes exist, because they're true to some extent. I mean, like the drunken Irish cop, I've seen that several times, and not just in fiction, but in real life. And like you said, how Kima's basically like McNulty. They even make a reference to that in season 3 when they're drinking near the train tracks, and she's talking about cheating on Cheryl or whatever. And then Kima's like, "Oh my God, I'm turning into fucking McNulty." He's like, "Pucker up, darling."
I mean,
even Perez jokes about it too when Kima goes against what Daniel's directives, and like questions him, and then everybody's looking at her. Then Perez is like, "Well, at least McNulty's here in spirit."
And then, if we look back at the lyrics for the song Transmetropolitan, you can see here it says, "Going Transmetropolitan from the dear old streets of King's Cross to the doors of the ICA, going Transmetropolitan, we'll drink the rat's piss, kick the shite, and I'm not going home tonight," which is exactly
what happens.
Exactly what happens in that scene.
Yeah, he didn't go home tonight.
Yeah.
Well, not his own home anyway.
That's right. We go to our next episode, our next song, episode 10, Johnny Cash, "Walk the Line," which this is perfectly used.
It was great, especially it shows how when Precious comes in and puts everything together, and we see their progress they're making in terms of surveilling the Greeks, the dock workers, and whatnot. I'll let you go on.
And the song title, "Walk the Line," which, line having references to The Wire. Mm-hmm. Running the wire against the Checkers and the Barksdale crew, and the montage is just perfect. It is,
and when it ends and everything goes together, and Prez is looking at it like, fucking A.
Yeah, it's almost like that scene where Bunk and McNulty.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the series of fucks, and then he's like motherfucker, and then he's like, when he opens up the fridge, it gets me every time he goes fucking A.
Like they figured it out. They figured out what happened.
That scene is great.
It is. It's like we're watching their process in action, even if they got to curse instead of saying actual words.
That was just brilliant writing. I mean, like, just brilliant writing.
That is the best. I mean, that 2 minutes of that scene is. It's just, I mean, it's in the TV Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You trying to recreate a scene like that. I mean, that's just one of those ones that anytime that's on or I'm going through this, I will watch that like 4 times. It's just unbelievable.
There's a lot going on in that scene, yeah, more than what the dialogue suggests.
And you know,
and it's the whole like tap 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 window thing. I mean, it's the whole bit. It's really really smart.
And it's probably a bit that they got from like actual Baltimore cops, something that they probably did once in a crime scene, how they figured it out by saying "fuck," oh fuck, motherfucker, fucking A. All right, let's bounce.
and you know, back to the Johnny Cash. You know, David Simon has also used Johnny Cash. You know, in Generation Kill, at the end of Generation Kill, he used the song "The Man Comes Around," where they're all watching the footage from that they gathered from their journey through Iraq. And I think it's cool. I like how he uses Johnny Cash. And you look at the lyrics for this song, "Walk the Line." I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line.
I feel it describes what this unit, the major crimes unit, that's what they're now called, what they were trying to do with their targets, really. It's like keeping a watch on their personal lives, keeping their eyes open all the time to figure out what these guys are doing and whatnot, and keep the ends out for the tie that binds. They're walking on the line to make sure they get these people. They're not crossing the line, but they're walking on it.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go to our next song in episode 12 by Steve Earle. Doing All Right. This is even where The Wire starts to get even more cool. It's just with how they bring their characters, real life characters, into the show, which, you know, Steve Earle was actually a heroin addict, a former like a heroin addict.
He was at one point, yeah.
And he actually has a role in the show. He plays Waylon, who's who's a leader at the NA meetings and always never on.
Becomes Bubble's sponsor.
Bubble's sponsor, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, this is where the show, again, it's just like, holy crap, the show is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And this song is played at the ending
of season 2.
Ending of season 2, the montage.
When Nick Sabaka, when he comes out, he has to be let out from witness protection for a minute just so he can look at the docs, and he looks at it in tears while it's raining. And then the music comes on, and we see everything that's been happening since since the case closed, since the Greeks decided to bounce, and since Stringer Bell, the Barksdales, decided to go over to Prop Joe's people. Like, you see the Checkers. There's some of them are still working, but the IBS, Frank's Union, that's closed.
Yeah.
It's been shut down. The 14 girls, the Jane Does, the hookers or whatever, they kind of went from red to black. Rawls is very happy, and so is Landsman.
Yeah.
What else? The Sabaka family. Yeah, Ziggy's in jail. Frank's dead. Nick is in witness protection with his kid and his girlfriend.
Yeah. And I think the lyrics
But Horse is still sitting on the docks checking. Because no matter what, they would never give him up. And I just, that one part
Horseface, yeah.
When both Frank and then Nick, day after day, are both brought in, they're laying out the whole thing, and they just won't give up Horseface.
Yeah,
and it's just that one kind of middle finger to the man of just, you know what, we'll cop to it, but we're not giving up everybody.
Right. It's like Horse. It's like even Nick said, I don't know why the hell you got Horse up there. Horse don't know shit. I'll testify to that.
Yeah.
Loyalty. And what else? What else was going on in there, though? All the white dealers, like Frog and all them, they're still dealing. And the person whose steps he was in front of, she's selling her house now. Prop Joe, he's getting more product from the Greeks. The cop that Jimmy was in love with, Beatty Russell.
Yep.
Yeah, she's still with the Port Authority, but now, as Bunk calls it, she got game now.
Yeah, and then when you look at the lyrics, like, I feel like it's references to those characters, like in the montage. You said, if you look at the lyrics, I was born my papa's son, a wandering eye and a smoking gun. I feel like that's
McNulty.
Yeah,
wandering eye. Yeah,
yeah, or even a reference to Ziggy as well, because Ziggy was Sabatka's son. Yeah, he was the smoking gun, and he was Sabatka's son. So, I think and lock me up and throw away the key. He gets his jail sentence for killing
a George Gleekus, Double G. Yeah,
yeah.
And there's also a line in the second verse of the song that says, I'll bring you ancient tales from distant lands and contraband," or something like that. And I'm like, that's a reference to the Greeks.
Yeah. Just brilliant use of the song.
It was.
And you called it out, so it was a good find, and
Thank you.
and definitely an excellent song that they used. All right, so we're going to season 3 now.
All right, let's get it.
So our first song here is, well, actually, we're going to talk about the opening credits. That is done by the Neville Brothers.
If you walk through the garden.
And what I like about this song is it's got kind of a R&B and then like R&B sound to it. Almost like you could hear like the drums, the percussion in the back. It almost sounds like a little go-go as
like
well.
And funny they mentioned in season 2 they referenced that to go-go itself when Stringer Bell contracts those DC hitters to have D'Angelo killed. He's like, how'd that DC game go? Same old, you know how it is. Same old go-go, same old Bamas. Like, you going back down to DC? I never go stand that go-go shit. I know a club in Oxon Hill that'll wreck y'all. That's because you ain't heard it live. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, that's DMV shit, not just Baltimore shit.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. It's got
David Simon or
no. I think the song is cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I like how like it's got that real R&B feel to it. And I think the Neville Brothers are from New Orleans, which is kind of cool because then, David Simon does Treme.
Yeah.
Which is,
which is in New Orleans post-Katrina.
Yeah. So really different, a really cool, inclusion and song for season 3 for the opening credits.
Yeah, I did like it better than the Tom Waits version.
Yeah. And then we go to our next song in episode 3, The Pogues, the Body of an American, which is played in the bar after Ray Cole.
Detective Ray Cole, yeah, he dies. The actor that played him in real life, Robert F. Colesbury, he died from complications during open heart surgery. And Colesbury, the last thing he did for The Wire was, even though he's still listed as an executive producer or whatever, he directed the final episode in season 2.
Yeah, and this was just a great great tribute to him.
They had references to a lot of the shows out of the movies that he produced. Like, remember the Mississippi extradition, the arson burnings,
Mississippi Burning.
Yeah.
After
Hours on Hudson Street, After Hours from Scorsese.
Okay.
Yeah, and they made tribute to that when Landsman was given his eulogy.
Okay.
Yeah, this was like wow.
I think he also worked on Homicide, right?
Homicide, Life on the Streets. Yeah.
And then they also pay I feel like a little bit of tribute to him with they have Belzer in the last couple episodes. He makes a cameo.
Yeah, they had John Munch. Yeah, they had him in there. And I used to own a bar. It's not how it works.
But yeah, this is just brings the Wire up again into one of the top shows ever in my mind because
And they're all the cops in there, black, white, Hispanic, all singing this song in unison. It's like Baltimore tradition.
Yeah.
So they were all Irish at the wake.
Yeah, you think it was St. Patty's Day and the bar was Kavanaugh's.
and Landsman, I think the actor who plays Landsman,
Delaney Williams, yeah,
he does such a great job.
It's funny, you got a Jewish cop giving an Irish wake.
But yeah, this is a good one. And I mean. Sorry, go ahead, Simon.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go on because I want to say something after that.
I was just going to say the lyrics kind of reference death. In the room where the dead man lay, so Big Jim Dwyer made his last trip to the shores where his father laid. So I mean, the obvious references to death there, and then the wake, and then I'm trying to understand why they put him on the
pool table.
On the pool table, is that a Baltimore tradition? Or
I think it is. I think it is because they did it 3 times during the show. When Ray Forster, when he died in season 4, and as well as the actor who played him,
and
Richard
then for McNulty at the end.
Yeah, for him at the end. Yeah, but they all did it for Irish cops though. Forster, Cole, McNulty.
Yeah,
and but the fact that both Lester and Bunk were not just versed in the tradition, but they knew every word to the song, shows me that that's a cop tradition. I don't think it has to do with anything to do with skin color, race, ethnicity.
That was my point. That was my point, Joey. When you see all the cops in there singing like that, it has nothing to do with race. All these dudes in there just know that song is a cop tradition. But Kima didn't know anything about it at all. Because when she heard that Ray Cole died, McNulty invited her down to the wake. He's like, they got his body on a table like that? Really? Why? One last drink with the boys. And then when the scene when the scene cuts or whatever, and then you see Bunk and McNulty outside, you hear another Pogue song, Sally McLennan. It's like a tribute to a dead friend or whatever. And Bunk, he's lamenting how McNulty never gave Cole the case back in season 1. The case regarding, what was it? It was somebody in season 1, one of Omar's people. Oh, Stinkum. When Omar killed Stinkum, yeah, McNulty knew that it connected to his case, so he told Bunk to go over there and convince Ray Cole to give up the case.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And Bunk's like, he kicked out of here without you giving the clearance on that Omar thing, Jimmy. Oh, I know.
That was actually a spot-on impersonation, by the way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
I heard myself.
That was your best one yet.
Well, I'm gonna do a video later on just to show you what my best one is. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Oh no. Your best one is from Gary Oldman's
Hannibal
monologue when he first meets Clarice.
Hannibal, yeah, that was fun to do.
Yeah, Sai, you're on fire today. So we go to our next song. It's in episode 4 by DJ Technics, My Life Extra. I like this one.
House music, yeah.
It's the house music, and this is the scene where
Cuddy's welcome home party.
Yeah, and just fits in perfectly with the scene. You see a lot of drug use going on, a lot of people partying and getting into kind of crazy stuff, and then he walks into that room, and Slim Charles comes in and essentially shotguns that blunt with him.
Yeah. Like kiss the sky, nigga.
And you can just tell he's like, he's kind of in nirvana. He's tripping out a little bit.
He hasn't done that in 14 years in jail.
Yeah. So
he got Bodie, Shamrock, Slim there. It's like shit is on. And they got them girls coming in there to give him a Menage trilogy. And Bodie's like, you still do like females, right?
Bodie was the comic relief, I feel like, in that scene.
He was.
He's giving a veteran kind of shit. He's like,
He was giving him shit before when they first met until he realized that he knew his brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he kind of underestimated him a little bit, right?
He's like, oh, yeah, you a soldier, huh? Bodie, chill. Hey, yo, you Bodie brought us? Yeah, what you want? I remember your little ass when you was in diapers. I used to spar with your older brother, James. He had a hell of a right hook. Then Bodie, his tone just switched up. It's like, all right, you cool then? Okay.
Yeah. Then this next song in episode 9 by Outkast, The Way You Move, I feel like it's perfect. Like, because remember the
oh yeah, then they try to shoot Omar and his grandmother.
Yeah, comic relief here, man. Like with the song title, "The Way You Move."
Oh yeah, and they moved. Considering the way they moved, yeah, they moved out pretty quick. But she lost her church crown in the process.
He pushes her in the taxi. She's like, "Oh my lord!"
Mm-hmm. He sees him coming.
It's church day.
It's church day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's church day. String Sunday morning. Omar, they sure it's him. Yeah, I do it.
Do it.
Go ahead, do it. And Slim Charles chews him out.
Even Avon didn't want him doing it on church day.
Yeah. I mean, the way Slim Charles, the way he admonished him, he's like, do you know what a colored lady is? Not your mama's, that's for sure. Because if they was that, y'all have known better than that bullshit. Y'all trifling with Avon Barksdale reputation here.
Another good impersonation.
And Slim Charles, Big G, he's from DC, part of Backyard. Go-Go Band.
I thought he was from Junkyard.
Junkyard, Backyard, always get them confused. I saw one of them at Sidwell Friends or what's it called, or Bullets back when we were in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song is just perfect though. I mean, it definitely hits on the comic relief there with the Way You Move, the song title, and Outkast was definitely pretty popular around this time.
This was 2004. Yeah, this is from Outkast's last album they did together, Speaker Box to Love Below, the double album. And this song, this is a sign of the times. That song was big in 2004 because I remember they used it on Chappelle's show, the episode where he did that Making the Band parody, and you see him as Farnsworth Bentley with the umbrella coming down from the sky, and this song is playing in the background too.
Yeah, the gotta love Chappelle show, right?
Oh yeah.
Then we go to our next song. This is Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Oh, I love this scene.
Buffalo Soldier.
I love this scene. It shows how Marlo Stanfield, the new drug dealer in town, just how crazy prepared that motherfucker is.
Yeah, and do you remember what episode this is in? I think it's like, is it 10 maybe?
It was the episode. 10? Avon gets shot in this episode. I want to say, and the same episode, it's where Stringer reveals to Avon that he got D'Angelo killed at the end.
Right.
I think it's 10 or 9.
Yeah.
One of them.
One of those, but yeah, this was, and then you see Snoop, trailing that guy.
Yeah, that Barksdale soldier, who ordered like 4 lake trout sandwiches, one with extra mayo, one extra hot, and 4 orange sodas. Yeah, and she just...
That's how she knew it was him.
I guess, yeah, because what's it called? She just goes out inside and just talks to Chris. He's like, this clown-ass nigga went and got 4 sandwiches, 4 sodas, you heard? Cool. And Chris is like, if niggas don't roll out in the next 5 minutes, we on to something, because that chick that Marlo met in there, that Marlo met in the club, Devon, he was supposed to meet her at that lake trout joint, but they wanted to scope it out to make sure it ain't no trap. It turns out it was going to be a trap, because Devon, when she showed up, she kept looking at the truck where that dude with the sandwiches came into, and then Chris is like, why does she keep looking there? And then it opens up, they throw out some litter, then Chris is like, okay, that's them. Drive by them motherfuckers slow.
Yeah, that scene was just crazy.
And Avon was in the truck, too. We didn't even know that. Avon, that just proves he's a soldier at heart. He was ready to get at Marlo.
Yeah. Yeah, that shotgun blast, man.
Yeah.
Into the truck.
Yeah, where they kill Avon's passenger. And he's like, yo, you hit? Nah, then drive, motherfucker, get out of here.
Snoop was one of those ones that was cast from Baltimore, I think.
Yeah, she's from Baltimore. You can tell by her accent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because this is another thing, just kind of going back to what we were talking about in the beginning with the casting. I mean, I think that, like, of the extras and, like, the super supporting roles, I mean, the fact that you're able to find people that are actually able to translate what they say to the screen is kind of impressive. Because, I mean, like, and you watch some of the finest actors of our time try to host Saturday Night Live.
Sorry, Joe, you went out there for a second.
You went out for a second, Joey.
I was just saying, I mean, like, I'm amazed that people who have no acting chops can go into something that is a dialogue-heavy show and actually hold their own. Is pretty impressive. It is.
Especially, remember Snoop's scene at the beginning of season 4 in that fake-ass Home Depot? I'm like, that was very, like, that's one of the reasons why I still like TV.
Yeah. But so we go to our next song, episode 11, Sam and Dave.
Oh yeah, where Muzone confronts Avon.
Yeah, and the barbershop, a place nobody can find. That's the name of the song. and you could just see Avon was like, "Oh crap, I got to deal with this guy."
Like, and the barber's like, "Y'all good?" Because he probably had a gun with him too, just like in Belly, where the barber's always got guns. Like, y'all good? Yeah, we good. All right, come on outside, boy.
And you just knew, like, that Brother Muzone meant business.
Yeah, that episode Reformation where he came back, he was coming back to get the dudes who led to him getting shot last season, and he knows it was a Barksdale because Stringer's dumbass gave it away.
Yeah,
and he knows Omar didn't do it. In this episode where he finally, no, that's the next episode, episode 12, the beginning of episode 12, where him and Omar had that Mexican standoff or whatever.
Yeah,
but this scene right here with the Sam and Dave song, a place nobody can find. That's like a barbershop, really. That could be described as that easily, especially in the black community, because that's the one spot you can go to that's like sanctuary. And it's been portrayed as such all throughout, like, different TV series. Like, most recently, Marvel's Luke Cage on Netflix. Well, fairly recently. They show in Harlem the barbershop. That's the one place where you can go to that's neutral grounds. You can talk about whatever and have a sit down, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't the barbershop in Cage get shot up, though? Am I making that up?
You're not making that up, and you're right. It did get shot up.
But
my point's still valid.
yeah. I mean, so do you think there's some irony there of why they picked that song, a place nobody can find, because this is a place that,
like you said in the lyrics, I'm going to sweet talk and tell you you're mine. And Brother Muzone basically came in there and basically telling Avon, you are mine. Business is what got you here now. With that alone, you still have a line to New York. Without it, you're done. And then you see Avon contemplating that. Then Muzone, he folds his arms up like, what's it going to be, motherfucker? Like, he wants to say that.
Yeah. So And he's not sweet talking him by any means.
No, he's basically making him clear what's going to happen if you don't give up Stringer Bell.
Yeah, he's like, you either help me or
I
like
cut off your New York connection.
Yeah, he's like, you're done.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but at this point, they were already using Prop Joe's Connect. That was the one thing I never understood, because they made it sound very clear that Roberto had already cut them off. So I don't understand why Avon cared at that point to have a New York Connect.
Not even the Connect, really. I think it's image, really. It would hurt his image.
I just, that was that one little piece I've always been a little iffy on, because I mean they were all at that point
they were already
back in the game with the co-op.
Yeah, but Avon, I don't think he liked that very much, and plus he had to deal with Marlowe too. It's like I suppose he probably thought once he takes care of Marlowe, he can just break free independent of Prop Joe and the co-op and just get back to New York or whatever.
Yeah, it must be.
So then we go to our next.
Plus, at that
Joe,
point, Stringer and Avon were both already starting.
They were on the outs.
To kind of
starting.
They were already. Tell they were going their separate ways.
They were already on the outs at that point. Yeah, especially considering what really made it worse is when Stringer revealed to Avon that he got D'Angelo killed, and Avon, he was plotting in his head to get Stringer killed.
Yeah, but at that point, Stringer had already dimed him out to Bunny Colvin.
But Avon didn't know that. They both snitched on each other without either one of them knowing. I mean, Avon gave up.
I know.
Like that whole scene where they're in on the rooftop in episode 11, where they're like, "We ain't got a dream no more, B." Just like, we know that y'all betrayed each other, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, that and going back to a couple episodes we were talking about Avon and Stringer getting into that fight. You know, that fight when he tells
Avon.
He tells Avon that he took out D'Angelo. I mean, that was like, whoa! I thought there was going to be like a shootout or something, or somebody was going to die.
Yeah, but Avon came at him when he had a bad arm after getting shot by Chris Partlow, so that gave Stringer an advantage. He was able to get him on the ground easily. And you see when Idris Elba has to do an intense scene like that, you see his English accent started slipping out.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk that blood is thicker than water than nonsense? Talk that blood is thicker than water. Shit, somebody else, nigga.
Another good impersonation. But yeah. So we go to episode 13.
Yeah, mission accomplished. That episode where Solomon Burke provides the season-ending montage for season 3, Fast Train. And I gotta say, season 3 was my favorite of all the Wire seasons. Amsterdam, legalization of drugs or whatever, or rather looking the other way, and all the unfolding that we see with the police department and their relationship with City Hall and how they tried to spin Amsterdam. All that shit was brilliant. I just wish it didn't. I just wish Bunny Colvin didn't get ousted from the police department the way he did.
Yeah, I liked Bunny. He's a
smart one.
Yeah.
Oh, he was always planning on leaving, but he lost his parachute at Hopkins, which I think was the part that kind of led into season 4 of what he was doing.
Yeah, taking security job at a lower rate to make up for his decreased pension, because they made him drop out at a lieutenant's pay grade, not a major.
Yeah.
And yeah, Colvin was a smart one, because remember in the Comstat meeting in season 3 when Rawls and all of them tell them, like, what's it called? We want you to keep the stats at such and such level this year, the murder rate at that level. And then Colvin asked, Deputy, as familiar as we all are with the urban crime environment, I think we're all also aware that there are certain processes by which you can reduce the number of overall felonies. For example, you can unfound a robbery or reclassify an ag assault, but how do you make a body disappear? And then Rawls was like he was ready to get up and punch him for that comment.
Yeah.
And Burrell had to hold him back.
Well, I mean, and the Comstat was a really interesting piece of that, because it shows not just how crime is represented, but how the police packages it to politicians and the public based on fudging stats and things like that. So, I mean, that was a really interesting look at just the way the police department has to show these things to the public, to the politicians that they represent. And just, I mean, I really thought that was a really kind of key underpart of this season, just the constant Comstat meetings, them discussing how they can make the stats look good.
And it's a way.
The way Buddy let the stats go all the way up before he introduced Amsterdam 2, so he could prove his point.
Yeah, that was
the
smart.
whole thing was a real interesting kind of subtextual look at just the way policing is done in this urban environment and the reason why it's not preventing crime.
And the other thing,
it's just kind of dealing with it.
And the other benefit of ComStat is it helps the cops weed out who the slackers are too. Because you saw how they did the poor fucking Marvin Taylor of the Eastern District.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kept getting on him week after week, and you could see him sweating from the back of his neck.
Yeah, and then Burrell was like, "What? The gods are not going to save you."
Yeah, after Rawls laid into Colvin for letting the stats go up and talked about the stripper, give us a whiff of that muff and delivers my fucking stat sheets with the exact reduction we promised our mayor.
And you just know they're trying to flush the stats.
Yeah, they're trying to make the stats look good for the politicians, really.
But they know it's just crap. I mean,
it is. They all do it. Even when the ComStat meeting was over, Valchek, he's talking about, I'll just juke some of the stats and give some of my guys overtime. Like, he knows how to play the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the song itself from Solomon Burke, it was from his 2002 album, Don't Give Up on Me. And Solomon Burke was a former preacher and is considered one of the architects of American soul music, and he even wrote several songs for people too. But the way this song was used in season 3, it shows what's going on after Amsterdam was demolished, how the Western District cops, they didn't learn shit. Herc, Colicchio, and Truck are still rounding up people and searching them and shit. McNulty, he joins the Western District after Daniels did tell him that after this case, you need to find a new home. You're done here.
Yeah.
But throws him an olive branch briefly saying, if I can work with you, if I can trust you, but McNulty rejects it, said, I need to go to the Western. I need to be less angry. And what else happens? Marlowe, he's a new power in town at this point. He took over after Avon and all his people get put in jail. And Bodie, he's the last Barksdale left standing at that point.
Who's kind of just like an independent.
Independent, yeah, because Slim Charles, he goes to work directly for Prop Joe.
Yeah.
What else? McNulty's walking the beat in the black neighborhoods as the Irish cop.
Yeah.
What else?
I think that's about.
Nah, there's more. Cuddy, his boxing gym. He got the money from Avon to do the boxing gym, and it's going better now. And Carver's becoming a better cop. But the funny part, some of the funny parts I found in here was Tony Gray and Carcetti were their respective campaigns after the Amsterdam fiasco.
Yeah.
Carcetti, he's a white politician campaigning in the black ghetto with the row houses in the background. Tony Gray's a black politician campaigning in the nicer, quote-unquote, white areas. And Avon's trial was where Brianna, his sister, she basically gets up and leaves pretty much because she blames him for D'Angelo's death, even though it was Stringer's fault. And he turns to go look at her, then turns the other way and sees Chris and Marlowe for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the first time
he
he
just
saw
mouths the word, and he just mouths the words to him because he knows it's him.
Yeah.
He just
and
looks back at him and says, Marlowe?
And then Marlowe nods. And then he knows the torch has been crowned. I mean, the torch has been passed pretty much.
Yeah.
But Chris and Marlowe, the dudes were just so brazen showing up at his trial like that. It wasn't out of respect. It seemed to get put away.
Jeez. Those guys were...
They were brutal. Chris and Marlowe.
Crazy.
And Chris has to be ex-military the way he operates.
Yeah, that beatdown where
Michael's father?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He went to... I think he went to Gaithersburg High School, the actor that plays Chris, Benga Akinabe.
Yeah. When you hear him speak, oh my, he doesn't sound anything like Chris. I mean, it's like, it's so shocking. Like when
like Chris?
when he does interviews.
He played a reverend in The Good Wife, which is a sneaky, really good show, by the way.
And he was
these actors, the accent work in this show is some of the most incredible stuff that I've ever seen. Because, I mean, the fact that you mentioned, like, in that one scene, Stringer Bell's accent goes a little bit. But, I mean, I had no idea who Idris Elba was back then.
Yeah.
And, I mean, him, McNulty, both of them English. Carcetti's Irish or Scottish or whatever the hell he is. I mean, half the people in there are from the United Kingdom, and you have no idea. Half the street people are putting on accents which are so spot on. And Baltimore has a very distinctive accent for both the black guys and the white guys. So, I mean, it's incredible, the dialect work that went into the show.
Yeah.
Oh, no question, man.
I have to agree, Joey. I mean, it's it's incredible the work that was done by Dominic West and the guy who plays Chris. I mean, I heard him do an interview, it was like, what? Like he didn't even sound like
Chris Partlow,
like his act. Yeah, it just didn't even sound like it at all. And I'm like, that's when you know it's good acting.
Yeah, he went to school for acting too. And the funny thing is, he actually got his start on The Wire in the very first episode by playing one of the guards in D'Angelo's trial in the courtroom.
Right.
He was one of the guards in there. Benga Akinabe, he was.
Yeah. And Michael B. Jordan, that's how he got really his start too.
He got his start there too, yeah. I mean, he's like one of the most famous people to come out from The Wire.
Yeah.
He was like 11, 12 or 13 when he did that.
Yeah. It's just like you said, Joey, the acting, the accent work and the acting has just been phenomenal.
Although from the New York, New Jersey actors that they got on the show, they let them keep their accents for the most part. I mean, like Herc and Carve, they're from NYC. The guy that plays Lester Freeman, Bodie and Wallace, Ed Norris. Yeah, they're all from New York.
Yeah. All right.
I will slightly disagree with you, though, just because I do think that at this point, although Michael B. Jordan is a gigantic movie star, I think Idris Elba may have a slight notch above him just on notoriety. And, I mean, there's talk about him being the next James Bond.
Which I'm all for. I'm all for, because James Bond's just a name anyway.
I think that Idris Elba is born to play James Bond.
Yeah, I can see that, and I agree with you, Joey. I think it'll be a really interesting, I guess, transition for the franchise, right?
There will be, yes. I mean, they never had a Bond who's a person of color before, so we'll see how people react to that.
Yeah, but they never had a James Bond who was blonde until they had Daniel Craig. People can get over it. I mean, we're past that in this society.
Well, yeah, we, the three of us are, yeah, but some viewers, the odds are somebody is gonna complain, even though they shouldn't. Somebody always does.
Oh, of course they are. I mean, they complained when Ursula was cast by somebody who was skinny for the new Little Mermaid live action remake.
Yeah,
nobody's ever going to be happy. But I mean, this is one of those things where you look at him and you're just like, one, I'm not sure if you guys watch Luther, but that has been my favorite show to come out of like the BBC world. That show is phenomenal.
It was good, and Idris Elba deserved his Emmys that he got for that show, most def.
I mean, he is just phenomenal. And then you have, Dominic West, who has done some interesting things.
The Affair is what he's currently doing. Yeah, The Affair.
But he was in a show that was one of the few BBC shows that was canceled. It was like a communist scare era, like nightly news show. And I mean, he's a phenomenal actor. These guys have such range that they did in that show and come back and be able to do like traditional acting and theater work. And, we talked about a lot of these guys coming from the theater.
Yeah.
It's really a testament to just the casting of what they were able to put together with this team.
I agree. Stage and theater actors, they work better than any big name movie stars, because this show and its realism, it requires almost like a direct interaction with the audience, the same way a theater or a stage actor does.
Yeah.
Season 4?
Season 4. All right. Opening credits by a group called Dommage, Way Down in the Hole. Love this, and really how they used it, because it does kind of play off the school youth kind of theme for this season. And I think they actually just picked 5 teenagers
from Baltimore.
Yeah, and they just essentially just picked them and
use them to parallel, because of the theme of education and the 4 boys that the season was going to be focusing on for this season. This one is my least favorite version of Way Down in the Hole.
Yeah.
The one I remember the less, because even though I don't like the Tom Waits version, it still stands out to me more because of his vocals.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's. I mean, this season 4, the theme of education, they even begin with that in the opening scene of the season with Snoop in the Home Depot, and she's learning about that gunpowder nail gun or whatever.
Yeah.
And she schools the guy in her hood accent or whatever. She's talking about, I seen a nigga get knocked down by a 22 Derringer. How much I owe you for this?
Yeah. And
she overpays and gives him a $100 tip. So what? You earned that butt like motherfucker. You keep that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. This was I did think did think it probably isn't my favorite opening credits, but it definitely works well with the education theme and the theme of the youths and Baltimore youths. But
and when we find out that like the education game is no different from the police stat game, pretty much.
Yeah. So so then we go on to what our next song here in episode 1, Dead Meadow, At Her Door. So this is played when essentially the car pulls up to the corner, and then Bodie ends up yelling at Naaman to pay attention.
Yeah, Naaman Bryce. He only took on Naaman because out of loyalty to Naaman's father, Weebay.
Yeah.
But Naaman is not built for the game. He's like D'Angelo. He may have been born into it, but you're not built for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is actually, I think, a DC rock band. I like the title name, At Her Door. I mean, it fits well with the car pulling up.
It's pretty much on the nose. Yeah, it is. It's with the scene.
Yeah. So, yep. And then I'm trying to. If we look at the lyrics here, she shines like boundless light, though she calls quietly. No, she'll take it all. It's all right. It's all I need. It has a reference to drugs.
Drug dealers selling to a woman.
Yeah. Then we go to our next one, which is
Isley Brothers.
Isley Brothers, yeah. So it's
This Old Heart of Mine is weak for you.
Yep. This old heart of mine is weak for you, and this is played when
Bunk and Lester
they talk about
in the bar talking about women, and Bunk just gave the legendary, what's the plural of pussy? Pusai.
yeah. That was funny. And then
and Bunk has a weakness for women, but Lester, he already got Chardine at home.
Yeah.
So Lester, he ain't gonna be cheating. Not when he got all that ass at home. But then again, Bunk and McNulty, they cheated on their wives, and their wives were already straight.
Yeah. So, but we look at the lyrics here. Always half a kiss. You remind me of what I miss. Though I try to control myself like a fool, I start grinning because my head starts spinning. So I think it definitely matches up, like you said again, with the scene. Bunk is eyeing that. Is this played before? Is this when he lights his clothes on fire?
This season 1 was when he lights his clothes on fire.
Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Like, you don't smell pussy? I don't smell no pussy no more, Jimmy. Trace Lab ain't gonna have shit on the bunk.
Yeah. Then we go to next episode, or was it episode 8? Paula Campbell, Won't Love You Back. So this is played. It's played at the liquor store. I think that's when. Bunk.
This is after Old Face Andre got robbed or whatever by Omar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and like Old Face Andre, don't nobody got no love for him. Nobody loves him back, no matter what he does for them. Like, he's basically a front for Marlowe's drug operations or whatever.
Yeah.
Omar robs him. He goes to Marlowe, try to plead his case, but Marlowe just takes his ring as punishment and bluntly tells him, Omar ain't no terrorist, just another nigga with a gun, and you ain't Delta Force or whatever. Just a nigga that had your shit took. So talk that global economy mess elsewhere and get me my money.
And I was surprised. I mean,
Joe, you still there?
I think we may have lost him, but yeah.
Okay,
technology, right?
Yeah,
but this is played, and you really see how Bunk Moreland's just a great cop, because he just smells bullshit all over this, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so he's not showing him any love back, right? And I think it fits well with the song title. So
it fits well with the song title and Andre's theme in general about himself.
Yeah. So then we go to, I think, actually, you know what, I wanted to say, make one more note about this. Paula Campbell is actually a Baltimore local artist.
She's a singer from Baltimore. I heard of her after the show ended, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even. Well, they use a lot of people in there as both to lend. They use a lot of Baltimore people to lend authenticity to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be it from like politics, music, culture, whatever.
Yeah. Yep, and I think that's cool too. I mean, it adds to the Baltimore kind of feel for the show, right?
It does, yes.
And we see that later, a bunch of other different hip hop artists that are from Baltimore, Ray Cash, and who we'll talk about in just a second. But then Then we go to our next song. It's in episode 9. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Don't leave me like this.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
this works too.
This works perfectly with this scene.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, because essentially, Old-Face Andre is pleading for his life, essentially in front of
Prop Joe. Yeah,
yeah, and he won't hide him.
He won't hide him. Yeah, he'll take his money though, and take his store for less than it's actually worth.
Yeah,
but then he's really just giving him up to Marlo, which we find out at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
He's like, Chris, come on, man, not in here. No, it's in here. It's fine. It's here, fine. But my peoples, I got you back. Like this, I'm like, when you kill people before in the vacant, that's scary. But this is the first time it's funny.
Yeah, and in his bag, because you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you know what's gonna happen. Yeah, I thought you was my deliverer, and then Slim Charles be like, "In a manner speaking, that be true."
Oh, damn. Slim Charles, man, gotta love him. And yeah, this just works perfectly. And then with the lyrics too, don't leave me this way. No, don't leave me this way.
Don't leave me this way with the rats and the vacants.
Yeah, I'm a broken man with empty hands. Oh baby, please don't leave me this way.
Broken man with empty hands, and you ain't got no rings on your finger no more. That's what it is.
Because they took him, right?
Yeah,
Marlo?
Marlo took his ring. Then Omar took it from Marlo. Then Officer Walker took it from Omar. Michael takes it from Officer Walker. Then Michael keeps it.
Wow.
He offered it back to Marlo. It was like, nah, you keep it, shorty. It had no value, really. It's just that to show how things like that get transferred from people to people.
Yeah. Then we go to our next song by Ray Cash, Dope Game. It's in episode 10. Actually, I misspoke here. He's not. Ray Cash is.
He's from Cleveland.
He's from Cleveland. He's not from Baltimore. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
But it's played in the background essentially when little Kevin tries to explain his story to Marlo. Remember that?
Yeah, he set himself up though. He revealed too much that got him killed. If he never said that he involved Randy, he'd probably still be alive.
Yeah. Well, Randy actually ends up getting,
his life ruined. Yeah, because of
as
Kevin.
Well. Yeah.
Because of Kevin and Herc. Herc is stupid as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what were they thinking?
What were they thinking? Yeah, even Sidner, when they were interrogating little Kevin, and then what's it called? And then Herc gives it away that they know about Randy. Sidner just walks out of the room in disgust.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what makes an interrogation work? Leverage.
But this one, yeah, this was you just knew it was going to happen, and I guess Bodhi had essentially given him some
bad advice, pretty much. Go tell Marlo to square things away, which is the right thing to do considering how Marlo is. But he revealed too much because when he told him that about what happened to Lex, when he said, "And I told Randy to go up there and tell Lex that," then Chris points out, "Nah, you were supposed to go do that."
Yeah.
So I think they really killed him just for not following orders down in the letter.
Yeah.
Because he didn't snitch at all.
Yeah, no, I mean...
he didn't follow orders down the letter, and Marlo considers that disrespect. He was sensitive, Marlo.
Yeah, I mean, he would just get rid of people. Remember, like, when...
Bodhi?
Or he would just get rid of people because he didn't like them.
Yeah, he's like, he don't kill people because it's business. He do it because it's natural. Do it just to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, the security guard. That's what I was... Yeah.
Yeah, he'd go to the security guard and get in his face, though. He stole the lollipops or whatever to make up for all the money he lost at the card game or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like, he'd go to the security guard and doing that.
And then he ends up taking him out. He puts him in one of the vacants, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. He's ruthless.
Petty.
But I think Jamie Hector did a great job.
And people think that didn't take much to do a job like that. But nah, that kind of minimalism and self-control, it takes a lot.
And what's I think even cooler about that is when you look at Omar Little, Michael K. Williams has that scar going down the front of his face.
And Jamie Hector has a scar in his mouth, too.
Right. I was just like, wow, that authenticity.
And they're both from Brooklyn.
Yeah. And Jamie Hector is also in another show called Bosch
on Amazon.
Yeah, he's really good in it. It's a different kind of look though, right? I mean, because
Hector's a good actor. He's underrated. He's been on Heroes, Power.
Yeah.
What else? He was in He Got Game.
Okay.
Yeah, briefly as one of those I love you leeches in the movie.
And he always creeped me out playing Marlo because like he would look, his eyes were like kind of
fixated.
They were like, they wouldn't even look straight sometimes. Sometimes they'd be like crooked and
serene or something like that. Yeah, it's like the scene where Prop Joe gets killed, or where he's looking at him like he's transfixed.
Yeah,
like it's not like you ain't never seen a dead body before.
Yeah,
or I guess he's realizing that with you out of the way, I'm finally king.
Yeah, He was kind of like wooing him to sleep. It was a weird
Like,
before he shot him, you know.
It won't hurt none. It won't hurt none. He never does that for none of his victims.
Yeah.
It's always crispy, like, don't fret, boss. I got you covered. Quick and clean, I promise. And shoots him dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Marlowe, he has all the traits of a sociopath, clearly.
Yeah, definitely. But so we go to our next song here by Paul Weller. It's in episode 13.
Final grades, the final episode of season 4. Yeah, it was used in the montage. It was used right after the scene where Michael finally makes his first kill.
Right.
And Chris is like, you can look him in the eye now. No matter who he is or what he's done, you always look him in the eye. And then the music drops. He has a guitar with a guitar riff, and we see Colvin and Weebay in jail together. Weebay and his son Naaman in jail together.
Right.
And Naaman, he's explaining to Naaman that you're going to live with Colvin. He's going to take care of you, but I'm still your father. And they hug each other. But another interesting thing about that scene, it testifies of why Weebay trusts Colvin, because Colvin knew the Barksdales when they were juveniles.
Right.
That was revealed or alluded to in season 2 when he calls Stringer Bell by Russell.
Yeah.
And when Stringer leaps up in surprise when one of his soldiers told him that Colvin was the one behind Hamstring, he's like, Colvin?
Yeah.
And then Weebay reveals in this episode that he's like, I remember you. You was a rollie on Pensy and Fremont.
It's crazy how everything's connected. Like
it is, yeah. Like characters you think didn't have no connection, it's like you do. And it makes more sense why Colvin views the drug game the way he does.
Right. And like, I walk on gilded splinters. Do you think there's anything to that song title in terms of...
Yes. In terms of what we've seen all season, how they're all willing to do whatever to get what they want. Marlowe is willing to spy on Prop Joe at this point to learn about the Connect. And is willing to get anybody out of his way, as we've seen throughout the whole season. He doesn't care if he has to ruin a kid's life just to make a point, like he did with Randy.
Yeah.
He'll do whatever. And Rawls, he proved to play both sides of the fence politically when he was telling Carcetti about the dude in the wheelchair, Odell Watkins, the councilman, splitting from Royce.
Yeah.
He's playing both sides of the fence to get what he wants. And Burrell figured it out and shut him down, though. Daniels becomes major. Randy, him too. He was willing to do whatever for money at one point too.
Yeah.
Because remember when he took the money from little Kevin?
Yeah.
To go tell Lex that or whatever, and it was his own downfall right there.
Yeah. Well, I think he was a little reluctant to do it at first, right?
At first, yeah, until he paid him extra for some candy.
Yeah. And then, crazy enough, those two guys ended up dead. Lex,
little Kevin, yeah.
Yeah.
By the same people.
Yeah, because Lex went and killed Fruit, right? Like.
Yeah, one of Marlowe's people, yeah.
Yeah.
But what else is going on in here, though? Like, Herc, his stupid ass, he was doing whatever this whole season 2 after he got promoted to sergeant.
Yeah.
Stealing the camera, fucking up Randy's life, Bubbles, letting him get beat, and then Bubbles turned the table on him by calling that minister on him or whatever.
Yeah. I think the title's kind of cool. I Walk on Gilded Splinters.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you remember when Bubbles was talking about, to Sid Noor about putting together his, like...
his look or whatever for going undercover?
Yeah, he was like, you have to have the...
Dead soldiers on your feet.
Yeah, the dead soldiers. That's what this kind of reminds me of a little bit.
That's a good point.
You know, it's not necessarily like the gel caps that they're stepping on, but it is kind of like... I mean, it is kind of have a reference to a characteristic of the environment in the show.
It is a parallel to it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool how they chose that song.
It definitely is. Yeah, and I think that and the ending of it too, with Naaman making it out of the hood and seeing Donut still stealing cars. He makes a stop at the stop sign and they nod at each other, like lost innocence.
Yeah.
But then again, you made it out of Naaman, so you don't have to go back to that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of essentially a symbol of hope, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even with all this whole season, the season 4, it's the hardest one for me to watch personally.
Yeah.
Because of what those kids went through and how they all end up at the end.
Yeah.
Like the one who's least likely to make it out, he does make it out. Michael, he's made his transition from full-fledged killer now, and Dookie's right behind him.
Right.
And Randy, he just wanted to make business and make money really the right way, and he gets fucked up at the end. And when we see him in season 5, how hardened he is,
yeah,
I'm like, that's what makes either a Bodie or a Marlowe.
Yeah. And I think Randy would, when you look at it, probably would have been successful if he had just, not.
Yeah, he would have been a Stringer Bell maybe.
Yeah. Because he seemed like he was doing okay in school, and but it's just tragic what happened to I guess his mom's house got firebombed, and then
and he's Cheese Wagstaff's illegitimate son.
Okay, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, Randy Wagstaff, that's his name. But David Simon revealed behind the credits really that he's Cheese's son actually.
Wow, well, that's I never knew that. Oh, wow. All right, so we go into the final season 5.
The newspapers.
I love this season. I would be one of the rare people that said I loved the season 5.
Season 5 made me laugh all throughout. When McNulty did that fake serial killer thing and all the hilarity that ensued. Even the characters in the show saw the joke for what it was. Like Norman Wilson.
Yeah.
He's like, I wish I could still have the paper so I could write on this shit. This shit's too good.
Yeah. He's like, Norman, this is my ass.
That's true, boss, but it does have a certain charm to it.
He's like, everybody's trying to get what they want
behind some make believe.
Yeah. He was great. The guy who played Norman.
Yeah, may he rest in peace, Reggie Cathy.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. I mean, he just brought a lot of humor to that role and to the
dry humor. Yeah,
I love the voice that McNulty used when he's like, "You disrespect me in front of my father."
Hey, you. When do you get off, you sick little twist? You mortify me like that in front of my father's father?
Oh, yeah, you mortify me in front of my father.
Mm-hmm. It's going to happen, Scotty Boom Batty Crack Daddy. You ain't never going to find him no more.
It's so
Biting's
funny.
Not biting, it's sexual.
When they film him in the closet, like doing that call, and then like the guy who gets it is in the next room.
Holly gets it in the next room.
The next room. It was so funny.
It is. And it's sitting there. He's out of the docks waiting for to be able to put the phone inside the aluminum foil or whatever to keep the cops from tracing it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm a cop. Would you see anybody? No, but it could be anybody. Arrest them all." They start doing that, and he bounces out. He just backs out of the scene immediately.
He's like, it's like that little meme, like the Homer Simpson meme, where like he goes into the bushes.
Yeah, it's like,
that's
okay,
exactly what
out
he
of here.
That was great. Man, season 5 is just so funny.
The opening scene where they got that confession out of that perp or whatever by hooking his hand up to a copy machine and bring his boy by like he got McDonald's as a reward for snitching, and how Bunk, Norris, Crutchfield, Landsman, and the new guy Christensen, they were all in on it.
Yeah.
Like, we ready, Professor? Yeah, hold on a second.
They tricked the guy.
Yeah, and then like the bigger the lie, the more they believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the truth.
That was the truth of the whole season.
So Steve Earle does opening credits for season 5, which I didn't even know.
I like this one. I like his version.
I did like his version. I didn't even know it was him though. Like,
yeah, he had it on his album, Washington Square Serenade, I think it was called, back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. But it's really good. It's got like a bluesy
electronic feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like how Eric Clapton's music was updated in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Incorporating like electronic elements.
And it's got like kind of a metropolitan feel to it, like city feel, like which I think kind of with the electric synths and the beats.
Mm-hmm.
And with the theme of the newspapers, I feel like it kind of just like goes. It feels like something you would kind of hear in like Law and Order or something.
It would, especially in the opening credits, where like the scene in the opening credits where they stop right in the middle of the bridge and the Stanfield car that Omar blew up just explodes.
Yeah,
we don't know what that's about until like episode 5, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what I love about the opening credits too. Is that they took scenes from the season, the montage, cut scenes. And put them into the title.
They've already filmed, yeah. Yeah. Like, we don't know where they fit in until later, but we catch it later on.
Well, yeah, which I think is another brilliant part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a good one, and Steve is actually in the show. Steve Earle is Waylon. And definitely plays a bigger role in season 5, I think.
He does, yeah. I mean, he had 1 or 2 episodes in season 1, 1 episode in season 4, the ending where he goes to bring Kima to see Bubbles. And then most of this season, the final season, he's Bubbles' sponsor and encourages him to finally let go of his grief.
Yeah. Then we go to episode 4, next song is from episode 4, Trouble Funk, Drop the Bomb.
Oh, that's a brilliant way. Like, what's it called? Put a DC song on an actor who's a DC native.
Yeah. And essentially, Omar does drop the bomb on Slim with the he hits him upside the head with his pistol. He pistol whips him.
Yeah, he does, trying to get information about who killed Butchie, but Slim, he persuades Omar, rightly persuades him that Prop Joe and him didn't have nothing to do with it. Like, if Joe could turn Butchie, I would tell you. Shit, I'd help you even. But it just ain't like that.
Yeah, that was terrible what happened when they executed Butchie.
The way they shot him, they tortured him in the back. They shot him in the nuts.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell is wrong with that?
Yeah, what's it called? But like it's like Chris said, you a tough old man. He would not snitch.
Yeah.
And a lot of Omar's people wouldn't snitch on him. Brandon didn't snitch no matter what they did.
Yeah.
Dante, well, he did snitch, and he didn't even look like he got much done to him.
Yeah, what happened to Dante?
Dante was beaten by Brother Muzone and his henchman, Lamar. Then when we see him, he just has a few marks on his face.
Right.
Yeah, but if that's why Omar broke up with him. It's like, you can't take that, then, yeah, we don't need to be together.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that part.
He looked at him in disappointment after he came and picked him up after they killed Stringer.
Right.
And then Lamar's looking in there talking about gay-ass gangsters.
Then doesn't Lamar gets beat up by Omar, right?
He gets knocked out by Omar, in season 2 when Omar goes to kill Brother Muzone, who's staying in that motel room.
Yeah, he shoots him in the gut, right?
He just hits him with the same way he hit his Slim Charles in the scene.
Yeah.
He hit Lamar with a gun, but only difference is he knocked out Lamar.
Yeah, he didn't kill him, but then he shot Brother Muzone in the stomach
and still saved his life too.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Omar knows when someone's telling the truth, I guess.
Yeah. So go to the next song here in episode 5, Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, Gypsy Woman.
This is a funny one because in season 1, when a landsman, he's fucking around with Michael Santangelo because Rawls has made Santangelo solve one of his old cases and can't do shit until he solves the case. So Landsman decides to fuck with him, right? She was a gypsy woman. Give me the card, Ray. Give me the card. The Madame LaRue card. And she decides to fuck with him, Santangelo, by giving him a fortune teller's card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was singing those lyrics back then, and they bring the actual song. They bring the actual song in season 5.
Yeah, and that's when Omar's sitting outside in the car with
Black Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie. I knew his name started with a D. I just couldn't remember it like earlier in the podcast. But
they're waiting outside Monk's apartment to hit the Stanfield crew.
Yeah, and I think this song is very appropriate because Omar's kind of like, he's kind of like a gypsy, right? He doesn't have like one place that he stays at. He kind of rolls around.
Like he said in season 2 when they asked him, "Where do you live?" "Oh, I'm in the wind right now, so to speak."
Yeah. So I think this song title just works perfectly, and it just works perfectly with the scene. And I believe Donnie was the same situation, right? I mean, he's kind of a guy that is in the wind as well.
In the wind, yeah, that's right.
And comes back and helps Omar, take out to take out the muscle.
Yeah, he said, "I want in on that shit." Nah, this on me. But you don't know those people. All right, you're in.
He helped him before too, right?
He helped him before when he was in jail. Yeah, Butchie always had his people help Omar.
Yeah. Then we go to
sweet Jesus, I'm gonna work them.
Yeah. We go to Boss Man. It says
Ayo.
Ayo. Yeah, this was in episode 7.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah, when Omar, he's on crutches and goes to strike fear into the Stanfield corner boys.
Yeah, after he jumps off that balcony.
Yeah, after he jumps out the balcony, he's still going around terrorizing all of them though. You see him wearing. And the funny part about it is he was hiding in the building the whole time. They didn't even think to look there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And when we see him again, after he leaves the building, the first time we see him again is when he blows up the car.
Yeah.
He shoots the Barksdales with a shotgun. It's like, you tell Marlo who was that blew up the money. You tell him he ain't man of the guy to see Omar. You tell him that.
Yeah.
And he goes to one of their stash houses, gets rid of all the drugs, and then finally we see him here against Michael and his people.
Yeah, which is really cool because Michael ends up turning into Omar,
taking up his role in the street game. Yeah.
Yeah, so like there's another part where everything connects, right? Like, and they're both in the same scene.
They are.
I think is really cool.
It is for the first time. Well, especially considering how season 4, when Omar and Ronaldo are spying on Marlo, and Omar learns who Marlo is in that scene, the dude he robbed at the card game, and they look at all the players in there. Then Ronaldo's like, "Papi, who is that?" Points to Michael. He's like, It's just a kid.
Yeah.
No, that's not just a kid, dude. That's your successor.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And like AO, I guess is slang for hey you.
It's
pretty
Baltimore
much.
slang, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of references to Baltimore in the lyrics on the avenue down in Bmore, where they average a body getting blown for every day of the year. This the land of the O, the murder capital. Boo. So, yeah, I mean, I think it works really well with this scene. And,
it does, yeah. The beat was just really bouncing and loud. You hear it in the background too.
Yeah.
And you think Omar's gonna do something, but nah. And nobody else sees Omar at all. It's just the Stanfield boys he's fucking with. Gets them all up against the wall. Michael is shook. Michael's scared.
Yeah.
But the only one who wasn't scared is Kennard, who
Yeah.
idolized Omar in season 3. But now that he sees him face to face, all broken and shit,
Yeah.
it's like his illusions are shattered. Like, I don't respect him. That's him.
Yeah, he's like, gimpy motherfucker.
Gimpy is a motherfucker.
Gimpy is a motherfucker.
And he wasn't even running away when all the other kids were around him when he was trying to light that cat on fire.
Yeah.
All the kids ran away, but Kennard just sat right there. It's just like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he ends up shooting him.
And going to jail for it probably, too.
I love it when Michael beat him up, though.
Michael just punched him 10 times in the face, and you hear somebody in the background, yo, look at that little nigga getting his ass beat. You was taking too goddamn long. Come on, Nate, get your package off this bitch so we can go. No, I don't want it no more.
Yeah, that was great. He was like, "Look at that kid getting his ass kicked."
They're all just sitting there laughing. He got his ass beat for sure, but it would have got him in line.
Yeah, it sure did. And it was so satisfying because he ends up killing Omar later.
Yeah,
and it's like finally somebody gets some revenge on that guy, right? I mean, I know it happens before.
I know it happens before, yeah, but it's
it's kind of satisfying.
Kennard was a bad motherfucker. Well, the one scene I did like him was when he fooled Colicchio with that bag of shit. Oh, I'm like, that was fucked up, but he deserved that shit.
Yeah,
so
Colicchio was out of control, man.
He was a bad cop. He was a brutal police officer.
And then I guess that actor ends up showing up in Generation Kill.
Benjamin Bosch, I think his name is.
Yeah, he plays he's like a major, I think, in Generation Kill.
I think he really was military at one point.
Yeah, he definitely looks like it.
And what he brings to the role too. It's like the character may have been ex-military before he became a cop.
Yeah. All right, so then we go into our next song by T-Pain, Bartender, in episode 9.
With that automotion, what the hell is it called?
Auto-tune?
Auto-tune, yeah.
Yeah.
You could hear it all up in the background. This was 2008 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this scene was good too. The scene where Michael kills Snoop.
Yeah, that was great. Because you think that Mike is going to get killed, but then he kind of switches it around on her.
But you saw earlier in the episode, he's smart how he figured it out. When Snoop told him not to bring his gun, he knew something was up.
Yeah.
And he sees her setting up at that spot or whatever. It's like, yeah, they're trying to get me. Okay, I'm going to bring a gun anyway.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Even Snoop had to commend him for his brains. Like, how you know? And Snoop taking that quote, the epigraph of the episode, deserve got nothing to do with it. I'm Unforgiven.
It was his time, right? That's what he said. That's
just his time.
Yeah.
But then he pulls out the gun on her, and she don't even pull out a gun on him at all. She probably didn't have one.
Yeah. She wasn't thinking that was going to happen.
She wasn't thinking that was going to happen, but she takes her death gracefully. I think Snoop, for her, death is just reality, really. If it's her time, fuck it. She's not going to try to stop it.
Yeah.
All she wants to do is, like, how my hair look, Mike.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes to the lyrics of the song, right? She's broke up with my girl last night, so I went to the club, put on a fresh white suit and a mini coupe, sitting on dubs. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking for somebody to talk to and show me some love, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Snoop, even after she knew she was played, she was like, how'd my hair look?
How my hair look, yeah. It humanizes her a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Humanizes her as a her.
Yeah.
Because this whole season, the whole time she was on The Wire, I didn't think of Snoop as a woman.
Yeah, I didn't even know she
I knew it was a woman when I looked at the credits, but it's like I can't think of you as a woman because how butch and tomboyish you are.
Yeah.
Like even the clothing was a sign at the times back then, like an oversized maternity T-shirt with some great big jeans and some Timberland boots on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but yeah. Then we have I thought I would as we close up here, use the song that they use for the closing credits by Blake Lay, The Fall, which is just that kind of bass. Yeah, it's just an instrumental.
It is. They played at every every ending credits for The Wire since the first episode to the last one, they use it there.
Yeah, it's very like somber, kind of.
It is
sad
somber,
sounding.
yeah. Somber no matter what has occurred within the episode, whether something good happened or something bad happened, that's the one constant.
Yeah. And but I think that's kind of like the show, right? In essence, it's the show doesn't sugarcoat anything. I mean,
Nope.
these are things that they're trying to,
Uncover,
way down in the hole, right?
in a realistic manner, yeah.
So,
I mean, the characters may be fictional or based off somebody who's real, but the stories, for the most part, are real and still going on today. Like Baltimore is still a fucked up city.
yeah, it's. I mean, there's a lot of great things about it. I mean, Baltimore, I think, has a lot of soul, but
no doubt. It's got some plenty of good parts to it, but the portrayals, the rundown, the ghetto, the violence that was portrayed on The Wire even over 10 years ago, a lot of that still rings true today.
Yeah,
and even crooked politicians like that one lady who was mayor who tried to use like children's books to funnel money or whatever.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, and people think The Wire's not true.
Yeah, no, I think it was pretty accurate. And, David Simon was a reporter for the Sun, Baltimore Sun. So I think he brings a lot of experience into the writing with Ed Burns and
even the newspaper,
Pelicanos.
and even the fictional version of the Baltimore Sun. It's like the people in there, it's like all based on people he knew. In fact, he had a cameo in one of those scenes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a reporter, just like he had as a reporter during season 2.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that. I noticed. I was like, "Damn, that's David Simon in when the reporters swarm in."
Yeah, on Sabaka. Yeah, it's like it's a Hitchcockian cameo. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, man, this was great.
This was fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry we lost Joey, but he definitely had a lot of great input.
Me too. He definitely has always good input on shit like this.
Yeah, we'll have to get him on again. But,
we will. I'll talk to him.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, man. Take care.
You too, bro.
Bye. This podcast is available on my YouTube channel, Rotunes Reviews. It's also available on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and other major podcast distributors as well. So if you don't mind, please leave me some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter. My Twitter handle is @RotunesRevs. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on the Untapped app. My username is Brewtuned. This is Andrew signing off. Cheers. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and follow Rotunes Reviews on Blogger, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And as always, thank you so much for your support.